Your jaw tightens, shoulders rising a millimeter each time the notification chimes. The room feels 2 degrees warmer, but your hands are cold. Your focus flickers like a bad bulb, message, thought, memory, fear, staccato bursts that jackhammer your calm. You try to push through to be strong, yet your chest is a fist and your throat is a gate that won't open. Sound familiar? You've trained for output, not for pressure, so pressure trains you. Here's the promise of this journey. You'll learn to stay present when the heat spikes, to move with precision instead of panic, and to become the kind of person whose calm is not an accident, but a skill, repeatable, measurable, wired into your nervous system. We are going to build an unstoppable, present, resilient mind, and we're going to do it 1 minute at a time. First, a truth most people never tell you: pressure is not the villain. Unused pressure becomes panic. Guided pressure becomes power. Panic happens when your amygdala hijacks blood flow and attention, narrowing your world to threat. Power happens when you can redirect that flow on command, widening your window so the prefrontal cortex, your planning, language, and choice center, comes back online. You won't do this with slogans. You'll do it with protocols. Think of your brain as a city with traffic lights. Under stress, your lights all flip to red and sirens start. We'll learn how to flip the right lights to green in order with a few precise moves. Your first protocol is the heat-to-handle loop. It has 3 moves: name the heat, root the heat, use the heat. When a surge hits, anger, anxiety, urgency, you name it in plain words. I'm having the sensation of heat in my chest and the thought that I'm in danger. That sentence seems simple, but it installs a wedge between you and the reaction. Labeling calms the amygdala. You shift from being inside the storm to watching the weather report. Then you root the heat using the 4-4-6 reset, a breath pattern designed to steal the siren's batteries. Inhale through the nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale slowly for 6. Repeat 3 times. On each exhale, feel your shoulders drop by an invisible notch. Only then do you use the heat, ask a single clarifying question, send 1 grounded message, take 1 small wise action. Heat becomes handle. Handle becomes agency. Listen to Maya, an account manager who sat in a fluorescent conference room while a client unloaded a month's worth of blame. Her ears rang. She felt an iron band across her ribs. A younger version of her would have defended, explained, accelerated the spiral. Instead, she slid a finger along the seam of her notebook, felt its paper edge, named the heat silently, and did 3 rounds of 4-4-6, her exhale almost noiseless. With oxygen returning to her prefrontal cortex, she asked 1 question: if we solved the single biggest friction in the next week, what would it be? The client blinked, recalibrated, and named a logistics hiccup that could be fixed by noon. 20 breaths changed the trajectory of a quarter. That's not magic, that's training. Right now, bring your attention to the shape of your breath. Don't fix it, feel it. Cool air at the nostrils, warmer air leaving. The chest lifts, the belly lags, the back widens a hair. Notice the weight of your tongue resting behind your top teeth. This is called orienting. Your reticular activating system, the brain's filter, starts prioritizing what you decide matters. Under fire, your RAS defaults to threat. When you give it a better target, breath temperature, contact points with the chair, a specific question, it shifts its search terms. You are not forcing calm, you are instructing perception. Let's lay down the method you can practice anywhere, even in a crowded subway or a tense Zoom. Heat-to-handle loop, step by step. First, name the heat. Sensation, pressure in chest. Thought, I might mess this up. Say it in your mind like a weather report. Second, root the heat with the 4-4-6 reset. Count slowly. The 4-beat hold is key. It stabilizes carbon dioxide and slows the spin. The 6-beat exhale lengthens your vagal tone, the nerve that tells your heart it can stop sprinting. Third, use the heat with a 1-inch action. Ask, what is the smallest next step that reduces harm or increases clarity? Then do that step only. You are turning a floodlight into a laser. You might protest, but sometimes I can't even remember to breathe. That's honest. We solve it with the pocket anchor. Choose one physical micro-action that becomes your universal starter pistol. It could be the feel of your thumb pressing the top of a pen, your fingertips touching your wrist pulse, or your foot pressing the ground. Rehearse it now. Thumb to pen cap. That sensation becomes the cue for naming, breathing, and acting. Over days, you'll wire this association so tightly that the anchor fires the protocol before your thoughts do. Let's talk briefly about the brain without getting lost in Latin. Under acute stress, cortisol and adrenaline surge, narrowing attention and boosting habit pathways. That's useful for sprinting, terrible for thinking. The 4-4-6 reset interrupts the biochemical cascade by extending the exhale, which signals safety through the parasympathetic system. Labeling moves the activity from the amygdala to language centers, which re-engages frontal networks. This is not theory, it's a staircase you can climb with your nervous system, one step at a time. Science is only helpful if it turns into something you can do in under a minute. We're after speedy agency, not trivia. Try it with a memory. Pick a recent moment when you felt cornered, an email with a sharp subject line, a partner's clipped tone, a deadline stacked on a deadline. See the room, notice colors, hear the exact sentence that hooked you. Let your body echo a fraction of the old charge. Now name the heat, tight jaw, hot throat, thought saying I'm about to be judged. Good pocket anchor, thumb to pen cap, 3 counts of 4-4-6. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Again. On the third exhale, imagine the iron gate in your throat unlatching 1 notch. Whisper in your head is fine. What is the smallest wise action? Maybe it's ask what success looks like in 1 sentence. Maybe it's propose 2 options and a decision by end of day. Maybe it's pause the thread and request a 5-minute huddle. Feel how your body changes when there's a handle within reach. Pressure became direction. You'll notice something subtle during practice. The first breath doesn't feel like it's doing anything. The second feels like a subtraction of noise. The third feels like a return. Don't try to be calm, try to be accurate. Calm is the side effect of accuracy. Accuracy about sensations, about the next small step, about which part of you is talking. When the body says, run, and the mind says, do 20 things, the accurate move is to give the body a job it can do over and over until the thinking brain can think again. A story from earlier in my life. I once sat in a windowless studio, recording a session with a producer whose silence could sharpen steel. After my first take, he said nothing. My chest hollowed. My scalp prickled as if the room had no oxygen. Old programming started to unspool, overperform, apologize, prove. Instead, pocket anchor, nail of thumb to pen cap, name the heat, 4-4-6. On the third exhale, I looked up and asked, if you could only keep 1 line from that take, which one is it? He pointed to a single sentence. We rebuilt around it. The session closed early, not because I became brilliant, but because I became steady enough to ask the right question. He later said, you didn't flinch. What he meant was that I returned to myself in time to do the work. Check your environment right now. Feel the temperature on the skin of your forearms. Notice the texture under your legs or feet. Hear the farthest sound in your space, a hum, a bird, a passing car. This orienting is not a detour, it's the runway. Your RAS needs a pattern to follow. Give it one. In conflict, aim your eyes at a single stable point, like the corner of a picture frame or the edge of your laptop screen. That eye stillness tells your vestibular system the world isn't falling, which frees your body from bracing. You're stacking signals of safety so your intelligence can reappear. There's something else to wire in, the 90-second weather rule. When a big emotion surges, commit to watching it like rain on a window for 90 seconds before you decide what it means. Not 90 minutes, not 9 seconds, 90. During that window, do nothing interpretive. Let your body move micro amounts, wrists roll, jaw softens, shoulders drop, but don't let your mind build a story. The chemistry of an emotional surge peaks and begins to ebb in about that time if you don't feed it with catastrophic thoughts. Combine the weather rule with the heat-to-handle loop, and you have a tiny dojo for your day. You can step into it 12 times between breakfast and lunch. What about when the stakes are truly high? A presentation, a crucial conversation, the last chance. Your advantage is not eloquence, it's state control. 10 minutes before, do 3 rounds of 4-4-6 and name in advance the exact heat you expect. Likely sensations, dry mouth, hot cheeks, restless hands. Likely thoughts, they're bored, I'm too much or not enough. Then plant a single phrase that defines your identity for the next hour. I'm the steady guide who asks good questions. That identity is not a costume, it's a filter. You will still be you, but your RAS will search for behaviors that fit the guide. It will spot opportunities to ask, clarify, and simplify. That is presence under fire. You may also meet the absence of heat, the numbness that follows overload. It can feel like staring through fogged glass. There too, the protocol works. Name the heat as absence, flat chest, slow blink, thought saying nothing matters. Breathe. Then take a 1-inch action that proves agency exists. Stand and drink a glass of water. Send one sentence that moves a task forward. Step outside for 90 seconds. Agency begets agency. The point is not to conquer feelings. It's to choose your move inside any weather. Consider the garden of thoughts. Your mind is soil. Pressure scatters seeds of catastrophic thinking because catastrophe gets attention. If you never weed, the garden becomes thistle. Under fire, your job isn't to plant roses, it's to pull 3 weeds and leave the soil clean enough for anything true to grow. A weed might be there against me. I always mess this up. It's already too late. Use the sentence stem, I'm having the thought that, before each weed. The stem introduces distance. You stop being entangled in the vine. Then ask for one plausible alternative. I'm having the thought that they're against me. One plausible alternative is that they're pressured too. This is not positive thinking, it's accurate gardening. Return to your breath. Inhale through the nose 4, hold 4, exhale 6, feeling the belly soften and the back widen. Notice the micro shift behind your eyes, that sense of space returning by a degree. The room has edges again, time loosens. If the surge climbs, lengthen the exhale to 8. You're not trying to perform calm, you're letting your biology remember it knows how. You will slip, everyone does. You will say something too sharp, send the message too soon, freeze when you meant to speak. The work is not to avoid all mistakes, but to shorten the distance from mistake to awareness, and from awareness to repair. After a slip, name it without drama. Heat spoke for me. Breathe. Then do a micro repair. That came out too tense, let me try again. Repair is a muscle. Every rep makes the next one easier. There's a deeper shift that will carry you through the rest of this training. Right now, decide that your identity is not anxious person trying to be calm. Decide you are a steady operator learning to steer faster. Operators learn protocols and practice them until they're boring. Boring is the new power. When the sprinting world tries to recruit your nervous system, you'll have your pocket anchor, your heat-to-handle loop, your 90-second weather rule. And in the center of it, something even quieter. You are the awareness, not the emotion. The awareness notices, chooses, and guides. The emotion moves like weather and passes. If you're willing, take one more minute with me. Sit a little taller without rigidity. Feel your sit bones, the 2 points that root you. Let your shoulders rise with an inhale and drop with the exhale like a small tide. Place your tongue lightly on the roof of your mouth. Pocket anchor, thumb to pen cap. Name the current weather, calm with gusts of doubt, or light restlessness with a patch of hope. 3 rounds, 4, 4, 6. On the last exhale, ask the smallest wise action you will take in the next 10 minutes. Make it so small it's hard to skip. Then do it. This is how resilience is built, not with a speech, but with a sequence so simple you can use it in the thick of the day. Remember Maya in the conference room. Remember the studio and the silence. Remember the feeling in your chest right now, slightly looser, slightly warmer, held by your own attention. We are training you to be present under fire. We are not removing the fire. We are teaching you to carry water. You've learned to catch the heat and root it. Now we teach your focus to hold steady like a camera on a moving scene. Under pressure, attention collapses into threat, then ricochets between a dozen bright objects. Your power comes from training 2 systems in you, the Sentry and the Spotlight. The Sentry scans the horizon for what matters. The Spotlight illuminates one object so you can act. Untrained, the Sentry panics and the Spotlight shakes. Trained, the Sentry chooses wisely and the Spotlight locks on. This is your second protocol, Sentry Spotlight Control. It has a quiet elegance. You set the Sentry's filter with a single phrase, then you aim the spotlight at the next 1-inch action. When the world shouts, you still hear your own command voice. Feel your body as you set it up now. The air in your nose is cooler than the air leaving. Your lower ribs expand like a belt notched half a hole looser. Your feet find the ground, heels, balls, toes. Name your mission for the next slice of time in 10 words or fewer. That sentence is your Sentry filter. Try, clarify the goal, propose 2 options. Or listen for fear, answer with facts. Or simply, reduce confusion by 1 degree. Whisper it in your mind until it clicks into place. That phrase doesn't fix the universe, it tells your Ras what to notice. Then choose the smallest target for your spotlight, the 1 square centimeter you can influence. It might be the cursor blinking in a message box, the line on a slide that needs a verb, the question you will ask. Breath sets the tempo. The phrase sets the filter. The target sets the lock. A story to show you the shape of it. Daniel, a product lead, entered a sprint review already bleeding time. 2 executives had conflicting requests and the team was fraying. The room brightness felt hostile. His palms tingled with static. Old habit, defend, justify, escalate. On the way in, he paused at the doorframe and pressed a knuckle to its cool paint, his pocket anchor. He named a Sentry filter, surface the real decision, and chose a spotlight target, the first slide's title. He saw it was foggy. 3, 4, 4, 6 breaths dropped his shoulders a centimeter. He opened the meeting with 1 sentence. Before we debate features, can we agree success equals reducing drop-off by 10% this quarter? The room exhaled. The Sentry had filtered for the decision. The spotlight locked on a question. For the next 30 minutes, he returned to that frame every time the conversation veered. They left with 1 clear path. Same people, same pressure, different operator. To install Sentry Spotlight Control in your nervous system, you'll use the red thread statement, a line that threads through your task so the fabric doesn't unravel. Craft it like this: state the value, state the verb. Make it simpler, ask for the constraint. Protect the relationship, name the risk. Move the ball, request the next yes. Your brain craves verbs under stress because verbs make bodies move. Without a verb, your mind builds castles of thought and no bridges to action. Write your red thread statement on a sticky note or at the top of your dock. Keep it within eye shot. Each glance is a gentle tug on the thread, pulling your attention back without scolding. Notice your neck right now, the back of it where hair meets skin, a small band of warmth. Notice the weight of your hands, the subtle pulse in your thumbs. This is not self-involvement, it's calibration. When your body is mapped in awareness, your spotlight steadies. You will feel the moment it wobbles, mind sprints, throat tightens, eyes flit. The wobble is not failure, it's the cue to re-anchor. 1-4-4-6 cycle, one whispered red thread statement, one tiny verb enacted. You're building a loop you can run every few minutes without anyone knowing. Here's the second named method for today, the stop-widen sequence. Stop stands for see, take one breath, orient, proceed. Widen means widen options, identify constraints, decide the next inch, engage now, note the result. Under fire, you first see what's happening in you and around you, 3 sensory facts, nothing interpretive. You take one breath with a longer exhale. You orient to your Sentry filter or red thread. Then you proceed with the first inch of action. Immediately after, you widen options by generating 2 plausible paths. You identify the real constraint, time, budget, trust, clarity. You decide the next inch. You engage within 60 seconds, and you note the micro results so your brain learns. This is how you turn chaos into a narrow hallway you can actually walk down. Run it with me on something small. Think of a message you've been avoiding. See 3 facts. Blue dot on my phone, 9:14 a.m., stomach tight. Take one breath. Orient, protect relationship, ask for the constraint. Proceed, type the opening line. Widen options, request a 5-minute call or propose 2 windows. Identify constraint, they're traveling, a sync is better. Decide the next inch, write the 2 windows. Engage now, send. Note the result, relief in chest, tiny buzz of pride. That buzz matters. It's your brain giving you a dopamine receipt for effort well spent, which strengthens the habit loop you're wiring. Another anecdote, this time outside work. Leela stood at her apartment door on a Sunday night, hands full of groceries and a conversation from dinner still humming like a fluorescent light. Her partner had said, "You're not here even when you're here." The words kept looping. Old pattern, withdraw, defend in her head, come back brittle. She set the bag down, felt the cool of the wood floor through her socks, and ran stop, widen. See, tight throat, slow blink, hallway smells like citrus. Take one breath, orient, protect the bond, seek the truth, proceed, walk to the couch, sit, ask, when did you first feel that tonight? Widen options, listen only or ask for a single example. Identify constraint, I feel fragile, decide the next inch, hand on my knee to ground. Engage now, note the result, her partner's shoulders softened, a specific moment surfaced, repair began. Presence under fire is often presence under tenderness. It is the same muscles. Sensory check. The air around your cheeks is cooler than your chest. Your eyes can soften their focus, letting the world blur for a beat, then sharpen on a single point, corner of a picture frame, the smallest dot on your screen. That change in ocular focus tells your nervous system whether to brace or to collaborate. Choose collaborate. Let your jaw slacken so your top and bottom teeth part a millimeter. Feel the skin of your palms cool as your exhale lengthens. When your body obeys gentle instructions, your mind believes you are safe enough to think. You might say, I get hijacked by distractions, not just emotions. Perfect. The Sentry Spotlight Protocol is also an anti-distraction discipline. Try the one-screen rule for 90 minutes a day. One screen, one window, one red thread statement visible. If you must check a second input, set a Sentry timer for 8 minutes and return to one screen when it dings. Pair this with the two-question cut. Before you click, ask, does this move the thread? And if not, what does? The aim is not monkhood, it's friction. A little friction at the front of a choice saves you from hours lost to a maze. To amplify the effect, add a focus warm-up before big blocks. 2 minutes only. First, 30 seconds of breath ladder. Inhale 4, exhale 4, inhale 5, exhale 5, inhale 6, exhale 6. Second, 30 seconds of sensory sweep. 5 body contact points named in your head. Third, 1 minute to write your red thread statement and the first visible inch. Write the subject line that names the outcome. Draft the opening story with a one-sentence moral. Warm muscles tolerate load. Warm attention tolerates pressure. You also need a way to recover in motion, not just in stillness. Use the box step walk when your day has you moving between rooms. 4 slow steps, each paired with a word of your choosing. Here, I am, now, or steady, clear, kind, decisive. Your heel touches down and the word lands with it. You are rewriting the corridor between meetings into a training ground. By the time you cross a threshold, your spotlight is already aimed. The science simply, your prefrontal cortex handles planning, language, inhibition. It fatigues like any muscle. Each micro-protocol reduces its load by turning choices into rehearsed sequences. Your amygdala flags novelty and threat. The Sentry filter tells it which novelty is safe to ignore. Your RAS, that filter of filters, listens to verbs and goals. Give it one, and it will fetch relevant cues from the noise. Your vagus nerve responds to exhale length and social safety. Pair longer exhales with a steady gaze and grounded voice, and your heart rate variability improves, giving you more emotional range to maneuver. We are not chasing hacks. We are building a reliable physiology of leadership. Let's layer in the 3-angle reframe as a companion to Sentry Spotlight. When a story grips you, they're going to hate this. I'm behind. It's ruined. You generate 3 plausible angles, a negative that's realistic, a neutral that's factual, and a positive that's possible. They might push back on the timeline that's workable. We're at 70% with a clear path to 90. This friction could surface the exact risk we need to solve. You don't force belief. You invite your RAS to widen its search. Then your Sentry chooses the angle that best serves the red thread, and your spotlight returns to the inch you can control. I want you to feel this as body truth, not just mind logic. Place one hand on your belly, one on the back of your neck. Breathe so the belly hand rises before the chest hand. Imagine your spotlight as a warm cone of light on the next tiny action. Imagine your Sentry as a quiet figure at a high window, looking out over everything, whispering the mission. The figure does not shout, it simply points. You nod and move. You may hit the friction of boredom as you practice. That's a feature. Mastery always gets boring before it gets beautiful. When boredom arrives, name it as weather. Low wind, gray sky of repetition. Then switch your interest from novelty to precision. How cleanly can you inhale to 4 without the shoulders climbing? How crisp can your red thread statement be without poetry? How gently can you return to the spotlight without judging the drift? Boring is proof you are on the right street. A short field drill for the next 24 hours. Pick one recurring situation that normally frays you. The stand-up meeting, the commute, the family check-in. Before it starts, set a Sentry filter in 10 words, write a red thread statement, and choose your first inch. During it, run one cycle of 4-4-6 every 5 to 8 minutes, resetting your body and attention. Afterward, note the result in one sentence you can actually feel. Shoulders softer, finished the hard paragraph, asked the right question. These receipts teach your brain what success feels like so it recognizes it faster next time. Under every technique is the identity we're growing. You are not a distracted person trying to focus. You are a steady operator training a sentry and a spotlight. The operator listens to the weather but does not become it. The operator builds rituals not to be special but to be reliable. Reliability is rare. It is also magnetic. People trust the one who can hold a line when things wobble. Close your eyes for 10 seconds if that's available. Hear the farthest sound. Feel your clothes against your skin. Sense the ground. Whisper your current Sentry filter. Whisper your red thread. Aim your spotlight at the next inch. Breathe. There you just trained under calm so you can act under fire. When the heat comes, this will already be in your bones. Resilience isn't just bouncing back, it's bouncing clean. Most people return from a hit dragging invisible threads, resentment, worry, self-critique, so their next move is already tangled. Today you'll wire 2 protocols that cut the threads and restart your system on command. The clean slate reset and the cognitive detangler. Pressure will still knock at your door. Your power is answering it without tracking mud into the next room. That's how you stay unstoppable, not by being unhurt, but by being unhooked fast. Feel where your last hour lingers in your body. Maybe a hum behind the eyes. Maybe a tight rubber band across your diaphragm. Maybe a buzzy ache in your forearms from typing too hard. Don't push it away, map it. This mapping primes your interoception, the brain's sense of your internal state, so your prefrontal cortex can steer chemistry instead of surfing it. When you know where the residue lives, you can move it. The first protocol is the 2-minute clean slate. Think of it as pressure hygiene. You run it anytime you cross thresholds, between calls, after conflict, before important work. Step 1 is close the loop. Say one sentence that ends the last task. That meeting is complete enough for now. The word enough clips the perfectionism wire. Step 2 is reset the physiology with the 4-4-6 ladder. 1 round at 4-4-6, 1 at 5-5-7, 1 at 6-6-8. The gradual lengthening tells your vagus nerve you are not in a sprint anymore. Step 3 is posture pivot. Stand or sit tall, crown of the head slightly lifted, sternum soft, shoulder blades down and wide like a coat settling on a hanger. Step 4 is frame the next. Whisper a 10-word red thread for the block ahead. Step 5 is the first 15 seconds. Choose a tiny physical action that proves the new frame has begun. Open the doc and type the title. Set the timer and write the first sentence. Dial the number and let it ring. Clean slate is not a mood, it's a sequence. You can do it even when you feel nothing. Often, that's when it saves you. An anecdote from a hospital corridor. Jamal, a charge nurse on a Friday swing shift, lived inside waves, alarms, families, charts, decisions. He noticed that after a high-drama code, he'd carry micro-tremors into the next hour, snapping at small requests, forgetting a simple order. He installed the clean slate. He picked a doorway as his threshold and the hand sanitizer dispenser as his pocket anchor. After each surge, he pressed the pump, cool gel, sharp smell, said, "That case is complete enough for now," ran the 4-4-6 ladder while rubbing gel into his palms up to the wrists, rolled his shoulders down and back, and whispered, "Protect dignity, move the line." First 15 seconds, he checked the next room's whiteboard and made eye contact with the first waiting person. Within a week, his team said the unit felt calmer when he was on. Same demand. different nervous system hygiene. The room doesn't need you to be superhuman. It needs you to be clean. Right now, run a mini version. Close the loop on whatever you did just before this. One sentence. Good. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Now 5, 5, 7. Now 6, 6, 8. Let your lower ribs move like an accordion opening. Notice the cool air across the inner walls of your nostrils. Let your shoulders be heavy, collarbones wide, jaw unlatched. Whisper your next red thread in 10 words. Plant the first 15 seconds. If it's not possible yet, visualize the exact hand movement you will make. Your brain treats detailed rehearsal as a partial rep. You are priming your future self. The second protocol is the cognitive detangler. Rumination is Velcro. It catches every passing burr. Detangling gives you back edge and eyesight. It has 3 moves: label, locate, lean. Label is the scissor sentence. I'm having the thought that, then the sticky sentence said plainly. This inserts cognitive distance. Locate is where you put the thought. Imagine pinning it to a corkboard on the wall or writing it on a small card you slide to the side of your desk. The brain loves location. Location makes a container. Lean is a precise action. You lean your attention into one sensory anchor for 10 breaths or into one micro-task for 60 seconds. The trick is that label without locate leaves the thought in your lap, and locate without lean invites it back immediately. All 3 snap the thread. Science quick and useful. Rumination keeps your salience network, your attention, what matters, hub locked on internal loops. Labeling engages language regions and downshifts amygdala activity by transferring the load into symbols. Giving the thought a physical place recruits spatial networks that reduce subjective intensity. Then leaning into a task or sensation restores executive networks through goal-directed behavior. You are not fighting the thought, you're reassigning it and then moving the system toward a better handle. Neuroplasticity is the long-term result. In the short term, it's relief you can feel in your throat, your chest, your eyes. Let's try it on a classic hook. I'm behind, I'll never catch up. Label it. I'm having the thought that I'm behind and won't catch up. Hear the exact words. Make them slightly slower than your usual internal speed, as if spoken through warm water. Now locate. See the sentence written in thick marker on a 3x5 card you slide under the left edge of your keyboard. Name the location, left edge, under keyboard. Finally, lean. Bring your eyes to the smallest visible target, cursor in a subject line, the first checkbox on a list, the first paragraph you can touch, and act for 60 seconds only. When the minute ends, breathe out longer and notice if your chest feels less like a fist. That sensation is your receipt. An anecdote from Code and Caffeine. Priya, a back-end engineer, had a gnarly bug somewhere in a chain of calls. The more she looked, the less she saw. Her scalp tingled, her ears burned. The thought, I should already know this, kept looping. She tried to power through. The loop tightened. Finally, she ran the detangler. Label, I'm having the thought that I should already know this. Locate, she imagined a sticky note slapped on the monitor's bottom bezel, neon yellow. Lean, she set a timer for 2 minutes and ran a single diagnostic print at one point in the chain. 2 minutes later, she had a clue. The loop didn't vanish forever. It lost steering rights. That was enough to move. Check your senses now. Feel the skin under your eyes. It's cooler than your cheeks. Notice the weight of your body against gravity, the chair receiving you, the ground holding the chair. Hear the farthest sound you can hear without straining. This is orientation, not indulgence. It's how you give your nervous system coordinates so it stops flailing and starts mapping. You might ask, what about guilt when the thought is true? Detangling isn't denial, it's sequence. Feeling clean pain is efficient, being dragged by dirty loops is expensive. Try the guilt to repair bridge, a companion move. After you label and locate, ask, what is the smallest repair that honors reality? Then do it within 15 minutes. That might be a one-sentence apology, a corrected file, a calendar nudge. I owe you clarity, here's the next step. Your biology calms fast when guilt turns into repair. You are training conscience to be a compass, not a club. You'll add a boundary element now, because much of your residue comes from leaky edges. The boundary bell is a three-part signal you install in conversations. First is notice. You recognize the early body cue, solar plexus tight, breath trapped high, a floaty feeling behind the forehead that predicts you'll say yes when you mean no. Second is bell breath. You take one visible exhale through rounded lips, like fogging a mirror, to slow your speech and by 3 seconds. Third is clarify or counter. You either ask for specificity, what exactly would done look like by Friday, or you propose a counteroffer, I can deliver X by Friday or Y by Wednesday, which helps more. The or keeps you in agency. This is not aggression, it's clean edges. Clean edges reduce residue. A story in a small office that might be your office. Keisha had become the unofficial fixer. People loved her because she saved them and then resented her because she felt used. She installed the boundary bell. In the weekly planning meeting, someone slid an urgent tiny task into her lap. Notice, the solar plexus tightened like a coin purse. Bell breath, slow exhale, lips rounded, shoulders settling a notch. Clarify, what would good look like by tomorrow at 10? The request balloon popped. It wasn't tiny. Counter, I can draft the outline by 10 or take the whole task by Friday. With these 2 items moved off my plate, which do you prefer? The room adjusted around her clarity. Later, she said her ribs felt wider. That's biology celebrating alignment. Return to your own ribs. Let your inhale widen them to the sides, more than lifting the chest. Your exhale is a warm slide down the back of the body. Feel your tongue resting where the roof of your mouth meets your front teeth. That placement relaxes your jaw. If your eyes have been glued to one point, let them soften for a moment, then pick a single tiny anchor to resharpen on. Precision over pressure. Always. Because you're training for fire, you need a fast repair for flare-ups. Use the 90-second weather rule in its advanced form, the weather watch plus one wise line. Weather watch is where you observe pure sensation for 90 seconds, no stories, no fixes, naming internally like a meteorologist. Hot cheeks, tight throat, hands fizzy. One wise line is a sentence you say when the timer ends that sets your direction. I will answer with a question. I will move 1 inch toward clarity. I will protect the relationship and the truth. Put the line on repeat. Your RAS will fetch supporting cues. Your spotlight finds the next inch. Layer in RAS tagging for sticky wins. Your brain tends to remember the dramatic and forget the useful. After you run clean slate, Detangler, boundary bell, or weather watch, tag the moment by saying out loud, that was me choosing. The out loud part matters. Auditory feedback strengthens learning. Then feel for a single body cue, loose jaw, warm chest, cooler forehead, and say, this is what choosing feels like. You are teaching your brain the sensation of agency so it becomes findable under heat. It will seem corny. Do it anyway. The corny thing works because your biology doesn't care about cool, it cares about repetition. If you've ever watched an athlete between plays, you've seen a clean slate ritual. Shake out hands, exhale, eye focus, small nod. They're erasing the last frame so the next frame gets their full nervous system. You're doing the same in civilian clothes. Between emails, between rooms, between moods. The shift is subtle from the outside and massive on the inside. You stop dragging weather across days. A brief drill to install both protocols in your day. On your phone, name 3 doorways, literal doorframes you pass often. Each time you cross one, run a 10-second clean slate. Enough, 1446 posture pivot red thread whisper first inch. Then choose 2 rumination hotspots, the sink, the shower, the bed, and put a small object there as a detangler cue, a smooth stone, a paperclip, a rubber band. When your mind starts its trap dance, touch the object, run label, locate, lean. You'll miss dozens of times and catch a few. The few will grow until this is how you live. You might fear that clean slates and detanglers will make you less passionate. They won't. They'll make your passion precise. Emotion is fuel. Without edges and exits, it burns the house. With edges, it runs the engine. You'll feel the difference between performative urgency and grounded intensity. One exhausts, one builds. Pause, listen for the faintest sound in your space. A fridge motor, traffic's low ribbon, a vent's hush. Sense the skin along the back of your neck, the temperature gradient from nape to hairline. Notice your breaths travel from nose to throat to chest. Ride it like a surfer sliding down a small wave. Then ask the question that anchors identity. Who is doing this? Not your anxious autopilot, not your critic. You are the awareness, not the emotion. The awareness chooses protocols and practices them until the nervous system follows. A quick coda from my own kitchen. Dishes stacked, a deadline shadowing my left shoulder, a text blinking with need. I felt the old chaser energy rise, move faster, do more, be breathless to prove you care. I caught the notice. Bell breath fogged the window over the sink. That hour is complete enough. 446 ladder, posture pivot, red thread, write the opening scene. First 15 seconds, I put my hands on the keyboard, typed the first line, and let the text wait 5 more minutes. The sky beyond the glass cleared from metallic to human. Nothing external changed. I changed. It was enough. Build this like a musician practices scales. Not special, not dramatic, not Instagrammable. You will carry the feel of a clean chest and a steady gaze into rooms that once owned you. You will walk out of hard moments without dragging them along. People will call you calm. You will know the truth. You are trained. Today you'll wire resilience into your calendar and your clickstream so pressure can't sneak in through the side door. You don't just need crisis protocols. You need architecture, small walls, bright paths, and quiet alarms that hold your focus when life accelerates. The goal is simple. You move deliberately through uncertainty without grinding your nervous system to dust. We'll build it with 2 frameworks, the friction sculptor and the 2-minute landing strip. One shapes your environment, so the right move is the easy move. The other turns beginnings from cliffs into ramps, especially when your brain insists on waiting for perfect. Together, they let you start sooner, switch cleaner, and stop without residue. Before we shape anything, feel the raw material. Notice the temperature at your fingertips, slightly cooler than your palms. Sense the weight of your shoulders where they hang from your ribs, a gentle pull toward the earth. Hear the most distant sound in your space, even if it's only a thread of air through a vent. Your body is a drafting table. We sketch on it first. Pressure loves clutter. Calm loves contours. You are about to give your day contours. The friction sculptor is a daily ritual of subtraction and placement. You decide what should be easy, what should be hard, and what should be obvious. Most people let apps and algorithms set those values. You will set them with 3 moves: remove, reduce, reveal. You remove one high-friction temptation from the next hour, mute a notification channel, put your phone in a bag across the room, close a tab that pulls like a magnet. You reduce the number of choices in front of you to a small runway, 3 files on your desktop, 1 page open, 1 question visible. You reveal the first inch of the next action, cursor blinking where the sentence begins, the object you need placed within arm's reach, the meeting link preloaded so your brain isn't solving logistics while trying to be present. This is not an app, it's a craft. You become a sculptor who chips away what doesn't serve and lifts into relief what does. Here's why it works under the hood. Your dopamine system rewards progress and novelty, not virtue. If novelty sits closer than progress, you'll grab it. By removing and reducing, you increase the distance to novelty and shorten the distance to progress. Your prefrontal cortex, the conductor, tires quickly in noisy rooms. By revealing the first inch, you cut startup load so the conductor can spend its energy on music instead of chair setup. This is science in service of 2 minutes of grace. Run a tiny version right now. Remove one pull within reach. Reduce your choices to the single thing you want to touch next. Reveal the first inch by placing the pointer or writing the first 3 words you know you can write. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6, and feel the sensation of shoulders sliding 1 notch down their rails. You just carved a channel for your attention to flow. An anecdote from a newsroom that smelled like coffee and deadline. Archero edited features and believed skill should outrun chaos. It didn't. He kept toggling from draft to inbox to metrics and back, a nervous dance that left him hollow. He installed the friction sculptor for the 2 hours before print close. Remove, inbox hidden behind a site blocker that required a 30-second code. Reduce, only the draft, the style guide, and a blank page for notes visible. Reveal, the first paragraph line number highlighted, cursor set where the verb needed strength. He paired it with 3 rounds of 4-4-6 and a red thread statement, sharpen verbs, protect meaning. The first day he felt itchy, like he'd misplaced a limb. The second he finished 10 minutes early. By the 3rd week, junior writers asked why he never looked rushed. He smiled and said he was practicing sculpture. Let's add the 2-minute landing strip, because even with sculpture, beginnings can feel like a cliff. Your brain loves to wait for the perfect block of time, the perfect mood, the perfect clarity. Waiting is a kind of avoidance dressed as prudence. The landing strip turns any task into a 2-minute ritual that carries you from not doing to doing. It has 4 arcs: name, touch, move, mark. You name the micro outcome you can complete in 2 minutes. Write the first ugly sentence. List 3 questions for the client. Open the dataset and run 1 query. You touch the materials, hands on keyboard, pen on paper, document open, link clicked, so your body feels the start as tangible. You move for 90 seconds without judging quality. Speed of engagement beats excellence here. You mark the lane by leaving a visible breadcrumb at the end, a comment to your future self, a bolded line that says, next, tighten line 2, a timer set for the next 10-minute return. That breadcrumb is your promise in ink. Your amygdala treats unknown beginnings like a dark alley and floods your system with caution. By naming a micro-outcome and touching materials, you tell the threat system, this alley has lights. By moving for 90 seconds, you recruit the basal ganglia, habit circuits, to keep the motion. By marking a lane, you spare tomorrow's brain a cold start. This is how you build momentum under pressure without waiting for the perfect hour that never arrives. Check your senses again. Feel the cool air entering your nose and the faint warmth when it leaves. Notice the subtle expansion at your low back as you inhale, like a sail catching wind. Taste whatever faint flavor lingers in your mouth: mint, coffee, neutral, your tuning instruments. The concert is the next small action, nothing grander. Because pressure is often digital now, you need a protocol for the stream itself. Layer the signal to intention gate on top of your tools. When a notification pings, run a 3-question gate in one breath. What's the intention behind checking? Does this move my red thread? If not, what does? Answer in a whisper you can hear. If the answer is no, aim your spotlight back to the lane you marked. You are not resisting the world. You are escorting yourself down a hallway you chose. This gate keeps your RAs aligned with your mission, when noise masquerades as urgency. A story from a kitchen table turned startup desk. Nor building a small product with 2 friends oscillated between bursts of genius and doom scrolling. She set a 2-minute landing strip for code sessions. Name, write the failing test. Touch open test file. Move 90 seconds. Mark TODO, stub end point. She paired it with a 60-minute sculpt. Remove phone to another room. Reduce to editor and spec. Reveal failing test line at top. She added the signal to intention gate, whispering, build trust, reduce bug count, each time Slack rustled. She didn't transform into a machine. She became a human with a runway. Releases stabilized. Her body stopped buzzing at midnight. Progress replaced theater. Under stress, many people overcorrect with rigidity. Don't. We are building elastic boundaries, not iron bars. Enter the elastic stop, a way to stop on purpose so you can start again strong. 2 moves, round and return. 5 minutes before a planned stop, round your work to a whole number, finish the paragraph, complete the line, close a loop that can be closed. Then write a 10-word return note at the top of the file. Return by 2:10, tighten intro. Move stat to paragraph 3. This protects your future self from cliff edge restarts and curbs the 11 p.m. just one more thing spiral. Sleep depth is resilience. Elastic stops make sleep trustworthy. Sensory beat. Soften your gaze and let the periphery widen. Notice how your breath shifts when your eyes stop scanning. Let your tongue drop from the roof of your mouth so your jaw loosens. Feel 2 points that hold you: sit bones, feet, anchoring your frame. The more precise you are with the body, the less your mind must shout to be heard. Let's talk about energy waves. Your alertness rises and dips in 90-minute ultradian rhythms. Work with them instead of against them. Use the 20-20-20 reset between waves. 20 seconds of distance, gaze to relax ocular muscles and reset your threat perception. 20 seconds of slow exhale to 7 or 8 counts. 20 seconds of shoulder rolls and wrist circles to pump fresh blood to your forearms and prefrontal cortex. Then run a 2-minute landing strip into the next wave. This is not a productivity hack. It's nervous system maintenance, so presence doesn't degrade into grit-your-teeth survival. An anecdote from a courtroom hallway smelling faintly of old paper and lemon cleaner. Elena, a public defender, carried stories like stones. She started missing micro-details, an attachment, a date, because her attention was splintered by emotion and noise. She built a hallway ritual using friction sculptor and landing strip. Remove, phone in bag before she reached the door. Reduce, 1 manila folder and 1 pen in hand, nothing else. Reveal, a sticky note on top with the first question she'd ask the client. 2-minute landing strip outside every door. Name, clarify timeline, touch open folder, move 90 seconds with that question, mark, ask about Tuesday call. Her body learned the pattern. Clients felt her steadiness. She went home less haunted because she left fewer threads flapping. When doubt comes, and it will, give it a job. Use the doubt as data rule. You hear the sentence, "This might not work." Label it as a measurement prompt. Ask, "What variable is unclear?" Then design a 2-minute test that reduces uncertainty by 1 degree. Doubt stops being a critic and becomes a lab assistant. The RAS loves assignments. It will fetch observations instead of catastrophes. You also need a quick ritual for rooms where everyone's heat leaks into you. Use the collective calm cue. Before you speak, do a single visible breath with a soft exhale and let your shoulders drop a touch. Then say one sentence that names the red thread for the group. Let's define success in one line before we choose tactics. Humans co-regulate. Your vagal tone and your words set a rhythm. You're not controlling people, you're tuning the room. Feel your own rhythm now. Hear the faintest sound again. Sense the skin along your forearms, cooler than your core. Notice the microspace behind your eyes when the exhale lengthens. You're laying track as you move, not later, not someday. A short scene from a relationship where love and logistics collided. Tomas and Ren ate dinner with a child's homework brittle under the surface. The table felt too small. Tomas's impulse was to fix everything in 5 sentences. He tried a different architecture. Friction sculptor, phone off the table, TV remote in a drawer, only the worksheet and 2 pens visible. 2-minute landing strip for connection. Name, ask one honest question, touch, hands on table, not on phone, move 90 seconds of listening, mark, circle page 2 for later. Elastic stop, finish question 3, return at 7:45. That night the house didn't become a monastery, it became breathable. Pressure had fewer doors to storm through. You may worry that shaping friction steals spontaneity. It doesn't. It gives spontaneity a floor so it doesn't crash through. Think of a jazz musician. The structure frees the improvisation. Your day is a score, your presence is the solo. When fire shows up, you'll have exits, not just alarms. The brain again, briefly. Your anterior cingulate cortex monitors conflict and helps you switch tasks. Every switch exacts a cost in glucose and focus. Sculpting reduces switches, landing strips reduce switch pain. Your default mode network generates narratives when the task network goes idle. Breadcrumbs keep the task network gently engaged so the narratives don't hijack you with what-ifs. Your locus coeruleus releases noradrenaline in bursts. Visible breaths and distance gaze calm the release so you don't jitter into jumpy choices. Biology becomes a choir when the conductor stops flailing and starts counting. Identity always. You are not a chaotic person trying to fake discipline. You are a steady operator who sculpts friction and lays landing strips so future you arrives with a clear head. The operator doesn't trust mood, the operator trusts sequence. You do not white-knuckle against modern life, you design around it. The difference between drowning and swimming is not the water, it's the pattern of your strokes. Let's do one full pass together to imprint it. Choose a task you've delayed. Remove one pull, phone to bag, badge to do not disturb, tab closed. Reduce your choices, leave only the doc and the brief. Reveal the first inch cursor at the opening line. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Feel your ribs move wide. Name the 2-minute micro outcome. Touch material so your hands say we've begun. Move for 90 seconds without judging. Mark the lane with a clear return note. Now close your eyes for 3 seconds and sense the warm line from your throat to your chest, loosening a hair. That feeling is progress. Say quietly, "This is what choosing feels like." Your biology registers the tag. The loop strengthens. A final story for this chapter. In a studio full of cables and chilly air, I faced a long cut that resisted me. I wanted to wait for the perfect stretch of time. I caught the avoidance wearing a tuxedo. Sculpt, inbox and metrics hidden, only waveform and script visible. Strip, name, find the dead minute, touch, finger on J key, move 90 seconds, scrubbing for flatness, mark, cut 12, 40, 13, 42, crossfade. Doubt as data, what variable is unclear? Answer, audience energy drop, test, play it back twice on speakers and once on phone. Elastic stop, render test file at 18:10, return 8:30 a.m. The night felt humane, the morning precise, not heroic. Repeatable, that's the point. One breath more, inhale through your nose and feel the cool line travel up and back. Hold gently, exhale like you're trying to fog a small pane of glass. Notice the edges of the room, notice the edges of you. Whisper a 10-word red thread for the next slice of your day. Touch the thing you will begin. In 90 seconds, you can move a mountain's smallest rock. In a day of 90-second rocks, mountains shift. You are the awareness that designs the hallway, not the emotion that runs screaming through it. You choose where to put the doors, how bright to make the lights, and what the floor feels like under your feet. Under fire, architecture is kindness. Build it, and you will meet pressure as a host, not a hostage. Pressure tests your story about yourself. Under fire, the inner narrator can turn cruel, whispering that you're an imposter, a step behind, one mistake from exposure. If you only argue with that voice, you feed it. Today you'll install 2 frameworks that change the voice and the vantage, the inner coach switch and the principal map. One rewrites your self-talk under load in real time. The other pins your choices to values, so pressure can't sell you panic disguised as urgency. When your words and your why align, your system steadies. You stop trying to win arguments with ghosts, and you start running plays you can trust. Start by noticing the current narrator. Hear a thought you often hear when heat rises, maybe don't mess this up, or they can tell, or it's already too late. Don't refute it yet. Feel the effect in your body. Jaw tight, throat narrow, chest buzzing like a neon sign. Let sensation be data. The aim isn't to be nice to yourself, it's to be effective. The voice you train must make you better under pressure, not soft, not brittle, better. The inner coach switch has 3 moves. Catch, convert, coach. Catch is a tiny alarm that goes off when language turns from instruction to insult. You'll train it with one tell, the word you said with a sneer in your head. Convert turns second-person attack into first-person instruction. You always screw this up. Becomes, I'm choosing a smaller first step. Your behind becomes, I'm prioritizing the one thing that moves the line. Coach is the cadence that follows, short, present tense verbs paired with sensation cues. Breathe low, shoulders down, ask the question. You're not trying to be your cheerleader, you're becoming your field coach. The brain listens to verbs under stress. It obeys rhythm, give it both. A story from a stage that smelled like old velvet. Ria, a founder, stood backstage before a demo with palms slick and heart in her throat. The inner narrator started its familiar hiss. You're not ready, they'll see through you. She caught the sneer word you. Catch, convert, I am ready enough to begin. Coach, breathe low, eyes on one face, say the problem in one sentence. She rubbed her thumb along the seam of her blazer, pocket anchor, ran a 4-4-6 cycle and walked out. On the second slide, her voice wobbled. The narrator tried to sneak back in with "Don't mess up." She switched again. "I am slowing down, I am naming the win." The audience didn't change, she did. Afterward, a veteran investor said, "Your clarity under pressure is rare." Ria didn't feel rare, she felt trained. Pause and feel the air at your nostrils, cool in, warmer out. Sense your lower ribs widening to the sides more than lifting the chest. Let the back of your neck lengthen like a string gently pulled. Name one sentence that will be your coach line for the next hour. Keep it short. Steady breath, simple verbs, or protect relationship, ask for the constraint. Whisper it. Your RAS hears whispers. It chases the words you repeat. You'll wire the switch faster with the 30-second mirror, a micro-drill that uses out-loud voice to overwrite silent critics. Step to a mirror or a black screen and speak your coach line with a calm exhale 3 times. Watch the muscles around your eyes, your jaw, your mouth. Match the words with posture, sternum soft, shoulders wide, chin level. The nervous system takes posture as truth. When your face and spine say, "We're not hanging on a cliff," your biology stops throwing ropes. Let's bring in the second framework, the principle map. Pressure narrows vision until only threat and outcome remain. Principles widen the map. You'll pick 3 guiding principles that define how you operate under fire, not slogans, operational values. Examples: clarity over speed, truth with care, choose the next reversible step. Make them yours. Each principle gets a simple test question you can ask in 10 seconds that moves you from panic to practice. Clarity over speed. What would be clear even if slower? Truth with care. How do I say the real thing with warmth? Reversible step. What small move tests this without burning bridges? You keep the map within reach, top of a dock, card in a wallet, lock screen, and you consult it whenever your body surges. A short anecdote from a late-night kitchen with 2 mugs of cooling tea. Amir and Lena argued about money in spirals that left them both hoarse. One night, Amir taped 3 words to the fridge: clarity, care, reversible. When the temperature started rising, he touched the paper, cool edge, rough tape, ran 1446 breath, and asked, "What would be clear even if slower?" They wrote 3 numbers before opinions. How do we say the real thing with warmth? They named 1 fear each without dramatics. What's a reversible step? They tested a 2-week budget shift. The argument didn't vanish. It shrank into something solvable. Check your own senses. Notice the contact points anchoring you, sit bones, feet, the weight of fabric on your shoulders. Taste whatever faint trace sits on your tongue. Hear the farthest sound, even if it's just air moving. These coordinates calm your vestibular system, which calms everything else. You are making presence a physical place, not a concept. Because the critic often rides shotgun with perfectionism, you'll add the 85% rule in practice. Under fire, you aim for 85% quality on the first pass, then refine selectively. This isn't mediocrity. It's momentum that doesn't mortgage your nervous system. Pair it with the 2-window edit. First window, pure creation with your coach line pinned. Second window, scheduled refinement with 1 principle chosen. The edit window honors clarity over speed or truth with care, not both at once. Your prefrontal cortex thanks you for single-threading values. Here's the science in brief, always tied to doing. Self-talk taps your brain's language and salience networks. Harsh self-talk spikes amygdala activity and reduces working memory. Coaching language maintains enough arousal for focus without tipping into panic. Values priming, reminding yourself of principles before action, has been shown to buffer stress and improve cognitive flexibility. Translation: when you switch the inner voice and hold a principle in mind, you literally change blood flow in your decision centers. This is not positive thinking, it's nervous system logistics. Run a live rep. Think of a task that triggers the critic: writing a pitch, making a call, saying no. Catch the first sneer you that shows up. Convert it to I with a verb. Coach with 3 short imperatives. Touch your pocket anchor. Breathe 4-4-6. Now pick one principle and ask its question. Then do the first 15 seconds of action. When the critic returns, and it will switch again without commentary, you are not negotiating with it. You are changing channels. A story in a glass conference room that gave everyone aquarium vibes. Matteo, an analyst, presented to a senior team that preferred speed to nuance. His principle was truth with care. The critic told him, "You'll drown them in detail." He switched. "I am choosing one proof." Coach line, "Lead with the outcome, ask for the constraint." In the meeting, his heart hammered in his ears, a muffled drum. Sensory cue, cool water from a glass, the condensation slick on his fingers. He said, "We can hit the target two ways. The 5-minute version, we move X, or we test Y. Happy to go deep." He held eye contact with one friendly face, breathed out. The room picked the reversible step. He left upright, not shriveled. Same brain, different narrator and map. There's a shadow side to coaching yourself. Sometimes you'll try to outcoach your nervous system when what it needs is comfort. That's why you'll learn the sanctuary room, a 90-second visualization you use when you're fried. Close your eyes if you can. Picture a room that makes your body sigh, light, textures, temperature exactly right. In this room is a chair that holds you like it knows you. You sit. On a small table is a card with your 3 principles and your coach line. You read them slowly. On the wall, a clock counts 90 seconds as sun moves across the floor. You breathe 4-4-6 and watch light shift. When you open your eyes, take one reversible step. The sanctuary isn't escape, it's recalibration. Your RAS can't hunt while screaming. You quiet it, then you hunt. Feel your skin temperature on the back of your hands. Notice how your breath moves at the collarbones, minimal but there. Let your eyes soften, then choose a single point to rest on. Your biology reads these as safety cues. The more you collect cues, the less your critic needs to posture as a guard dog. Because language imprints through repetition and richness, add the vocabulary rebuild. Replace 3 common, corrosive phrases with operational ones. I blew it becomes I'm running guilt to repair. I'm overwhelmed becomes I'm prioritizing by principle. I have to becomes I choose to or I won't. Each swap regains agency and cues action. Say the new phrase out loud once a day in a real moment. If it feels stiff, good, new muscles always do. Your relationships will feel the shift when your inner coach speaks between people, not just inside you. Use the bridge line in conflict, a sentence that walks both your principle and their dignity across a canyon. I want to protect our trust and tell you the truth. The deadline isn't possible without dropping scope. Which matters more here? Practice the bridge when you're calm so it's available when your cheeks flush and your hands fizz. People follow clarity that includes them. An anecdote from a studio with cold air and warm lamps. I recorded with a director whose feedback could slice thin. After a take he said, "Again and nothing else." The critic lunged, "You missed it, you always miss it." Catch convert, "I am asking for the target." Coach, breathe low, "One question," I asked. "If I only changed one thing, what would help?" He said, "Pull the last word back." Principle, clarity over speed, overrode, please him now. One change, clean take. The old voice would have begged or collapsed. The coach asked, then did. Now a drill to make the switch automatic. The band technique uses a physical band on your wrist or a ring you can twist. Every time you hear in a second-person attack, you touch the band and switch to first-person instruction within 3 seconds. If you miss, no penalty. You name missed switch, breathe, and try on the next rep 10 reps a day for 10 days, and your nervous system will start flipping narrators without asking permission. Pair the band with your principal card in your pocket. Touch anchors are faster than thoughts. Sensory beat. Feel the weight of your tongue resting on the roof of your mouth just behind your front teeth. Let your shoulders drop as if someone has set two small warm stones in your palms. Listen for a sound outside your room, a car, a voice, the small rush of wind. Let your exhale be longer than your inhale. Your heart will hear it. You might wonder, what if my principles conflict? They will. That's why you'll add the principle ladder, a quick order of operations under fire. When two values pull, choose safety first, physical and relational, then truth, then speed. If you're ever unsure, ask, which choice keeps the most doors open? That question points to reversibility and learning. You won't always be right, you will be principled. Confidence grows from congruence, not from omniscience. Because leadership means you carry others, whether sometimes, use the echo coach when someone spirals. You mirror their heat with a steady nervous system and one coaching verb. I hear the rush. Let's slow the breath and pick 1 inch. I see the fog. Let's define success in one line. You are not fixing their life. You are loaning them your coach until theirs wakes up. Co-regulation is a superpower when used with consent and respect. A final story for today from a track that smelled like rain and rubber. Juno, a 400-meter runner, had a habit of dying in the last 100. Her self-talk turned savage in the curve. Her coach taught her the inner coach switch with a principle map of form over fury. In practice, on the 3rd rep, the critic attacked. You're tying up. Catch, convert. I am tall and loose. Coach, hips high, arms smooth, eyes up. Principle test. What's clear even if slower? Answer, tall form beats flailing. On race day, with lactic acid setting fire to her legs, she touched the band on her wrist, switched narrators, and repeated tall and loose like a metronome. She didn't run faster by screaming. She ran cleaner by coaching, personal best. Same lungs, different language. Close with a pocket ritual you can use tonight. Write your 3 principles on a small card and your coach line for tomorrow beneath them. Place it where your hand will touch it in the morning, on your keyboard, your toothbrush, your shoe. In the morning, touch the card, breathe 4-4-6, and say the lines out loud once. At noon, do it again. At night, tag 1 moment. That was me choosing. Feel one body cue of agency, warmer chest, looser jaw, clearer eyes, and say, this is what choosing feels like. You're not aiming for perfect days. You're building a voice and a map that hold under heat. One last breath. Inhale through your nose 4, hold 4, exhale 6 like fog on glass. Feel the room's edges, feel your own. Remember, you are the awareness, not the emotion. The awareness chooses language and principle, and the body follows. Under fire, your coach speaks and your map opens. That's how you become unstoppable without becoming hard, present without being brittle, resilient without losing your heart. Pressure compresses choice. When the heat spikes, your world shrinks to 2 bad options: attack or appease, freeze or flee, overwork or abandon. That false binary burns energy you need for precision. Today you'll install 2 systems that pry open that space and turn threat into usable tasks: the threat-to-task converter and the body budget ledger. One translates spikes of fear or urgency into a sequence of actions your prefrontal cortex can run. The other manages your physiological resources like a CFO with a kind heart, so you stop overspending on drama and underspending on recovery. This is where you stop surviving days and start steering them, even when they tilt. Feel your current balance sheet. Scan your body from forehead to feet. Maybe your eyes feel glassy, your jaw is hinged too tight, or your calves hum like a phone on silent. Note 3 raw sensations without judgment. Air on your upper lip cooler than your cheeks. Weight at your sit bones like 2 coins. Breath touching the back of your throat. Naming is bookkeeping. It tells your brain where the energy is parked. The system you're about to learn will treat those sensations as entries, not enemies. The threat-to-task converter runs on a simple axiom. Emotions are instructions in disguise. Threat says, protect. Anxiety says, clarify. Anger says, defend a boundary or a value. Embarrassment says, repair standing. You'll translate spikes into verbs and then into one-inch moves. 3 phases: decode, decide, deliver. Decode is labeling the specific flavor of threat and mapping it to the right verb. Decide is selecting the smallest reversible action that enacts the verb within 2 minutes. Deliver is doing it with a visible end mark so your brain registers closure. The converter doesn't make feelings disappear, it makes them productive. Here's how decode works in the field. You catch the first surge and say, threat code. Then you pick one of 4 codes: T1 uncertainty, T2 overload, T3 boundary breach, T4 status risk. Each code has a primary verb. T1 maps to clarify, T2 maps to simplify, T3 maps to protect, T4 maps to repair. Once you assign the code, your spotlight stops scanning the entire horizon and hunts for an action that matches the verb. Clarify becomes ask one question that defines success. Simplify becomes cut one input and choose 1 inch. Protect becomes state the limit with an or choice. Repair becomes send 1 sentence that names the miss and the fix. You limit yourself to 90 seconds to pick the move. Time pressure paradoxically calms when the choice set is small and principled. An anecdote from a hallway with stale coffee and fluorescent hum. May a project manager got a Slack ping, we need to present early. Her stomach dropped, heat climbed her neck. Old habit, scramble, gather everything, lose the thread. She ran the converter. Decode T1 uncertainty. Verb clarify, decide, ask what time and what does present mean, demo or slides. Deliver, send the message, tag the channel and set a 2-minute timer. The reply came, demo 3 p.m. 5 minutes. Threat shrank to task. She then hit T2 overload with simplify, closed her inbox, wrote a red thread, and built just the 5 clicks they'd see. After the demo, a lead said, "You're calm." She wasn't calm, she was coded. Pause and breathe so your nervous system hears you. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Feel your lower ribs widen like a book opening. Notice the cool brush of air at your nostrils and the warm glide out. Let your shoulders drop 1 quiet notch. Now whisper, decode, decide, deliver. These words are handles. Your RAS will hook them to the next spike. The second system is the body budget ledger. Your brain runs a constant prediction about energy, glucose, oxygen, electrolytes, sleep, adjusting attention and emotion based on that forecast. When the ledger is in deficit, your amygdala overreports threat. When it's balanced, you get more options. Most people let the ledger run unconsciously. You're going to make it visible with 3 columns: deposit, spend, audit. Deposits are small acts that increase capacity: breath patterns, posture resets, light movement, water, sunlight, micro comforts like loosening a belt notch or changing shoes. Spends are loads you choose: decision blocks, social intensity, high-stakes performance. Audit is the 2-sentence check you run every 90 minutes. What's my current balance? What deposit now buys me the next clean hour? The ledger is not self-care wallpaper. It's a tactical plan for your chemistry. Science short and practical. Your interoceptive network, insula, anterior cingulate, tracks internal signals and feeds predictions to your attention systems. Dehydration, low blood sugar, tight posture, stale air, these all become bad feelings your brain mislabels as external threat. By making tiny deposits, 2 minutes of 4-4-6, 3 sips of water, a stretch that opens the front of your hips, you reduce false alarms. By auditing, you stop taking out a loan on your future brain. This is not about luxury, it's logistics for clarity under fire. Run a microledger now. Deposit. Drink a small glass of water or imagine cool water sliding down the throat. Deposit. Square your feet, soften your knees, lift the crown of your head as if suspended by a thin wire, unlock your jaw. Spend. Choose one focused block for the next 20 minutes. Audit. Balance is medium. Deposit a 20-20-20 reset afterward. You are teaching your nervous system that it has a treasurer who cares. A story from a lab with humming refrigerators and the smell of ethanol. Arman, a PhD candidate, hit the 3 p.m. wall daily and mistook it for existential dread about his dissertation. When he tried to think harder, he spiraled. He built a ledger. Deposits scheduled at 2:40 p.m. Distance, gaze out a window for 20 seconds. 2 rounds of 4-4-6, a protein snack, 10 bodyweight squats to pump blood. Spend 45-minute analysis block with 1 screen rule. Audit at 3:25, eyes gritty, balance low, add a 5-minute walk loop. After 2 weeks, the 3 p.m. dread turned into a predictable dip with a plan. His work didn't get easier. His energy got honest. Return to your senses. Feel the fabric on your shoulders. Notice its texture and temperature. Hear a sound outside your immediate space, a car's low rumble, a birdline, a neighbor's door. Let your eyes soften to take in more periphery, then refocus on a single point, small as a period. This zoom in and out is a nervous system lens change. You're training the spotlight to move without drama. Pair the converter and the ledger with a third micro tool, the 1% courage ask. When threat is a social tangle room full of heat, vague expectations, unspoken rules, you ask one question that buys clarity and time without spiking defensiveness. If we only solved one piece today, which would move the line? Can we define good in one sentence? What's reversible here? Your tone is steady, your exhale long, your posture open at the sternum. The body budget loves these asks because they save you from guessing, which is an expensive spend. An anecdote from a boardroom where the table felt like a runway. Zara, new VP, inherited a team with old scars. In a high-stakes meeting, risk and legacy collided and voices started to rise. Zara felt heat crawl along her collarbones. Converter, T4, status, risk, verb, repair, decide, name the value and the ask. Deliver, I want to protect trust and the truth. Can we pause for one sentence on what success looks like to each of you? The room's shoulders dropped. Ledger audit said low balance. Deposit, visible breath and sip of water, then a small posture release. She didn't dominate the room, she tuned it and stayed solvent. You'll make the converter reflexive with the 60-second code card. On a small card, write T1 clarify, T2 simplify, T3 protect, T4 repair, plus one example action under each. Keep it in a pocket or as your phone lock screen. When the surge hits, touch the card, name the code, and take the action before your mind starts storytelling. 10 uses and your brain will start autofilling verbs at the first sign of heat. Pair the card with a ledger cue on your calendar every 90 minutes, a reminder that says audit plus deposit. It's not annoying if it saves your brain from pinball. Feel the skin at the back of your neck, the gradient from warm to cool. Let your inhalation trace the back of your ribs, not just the front of your chest. On your exhale, imagine your breath like a slow tide pulling back from the shore of your sternum. Small, real sensations keep your operating system on a stable network. Because threat often hides inside decisions, you'll add the decision sandbox. This is a 10-minute container where you move from overwhelm to a clean for now choice. Minute 1, converter decode. What code is this decision triggering? Minutes 2 and 3, ledger audit. What's my balance and what deposit will sharpen thinking? Minutes 4 to 6, write the red thread. Define success in one line and list 2 reversible options. Minutes 7 to 9, choose one, name a test, and schedule the next review. Minute 10, close the loop with one visible mark, calendar, email, or sticky, and a 3-breath 4-4-6. This sandbox is where you keep perfectionism from siphoning your day through a straw. A story from a kitchen island with a bowl of oranges and a laptop that had seen too much. Dev and Priya were deciding whether to move cities. Every conversation dissolved into fog. They ran a decision sandbox on a Saturday morning. Convert threat, T1, uncertainty, clarify. Ledger deposit, walk around the block holding hands, then coffee, then sit with paper. Red thread, define success for the next 2 years. 2 options, move now and test for 6 months, or run a 12-month pilot with 2 extended visits. Choose, pilot, test, rent a small place for 6 weeks, evaluate fit using 3 questions. Mark, shared calendar with review date. Breath. The stakes didn't shrink, the container got strong enough to hold them. Let's address the inner physics. When you convert threat into task, you reduce amygdala activation by giving the dorsal attention network a target. When you make ledger deposits, you increase heart rate variability, which broadens your tolerance to microshocks. When you combine both, you train a pattern loop. Surge right arrow, code right arrow, verb right arrow, inch right arrow, audit right arrow, deposit. Over time, the loop runs faster than your old panic because the body loves repeatable sequences. You don't become robotic, you become reliable. Try a live rep on something prickly. Bring to mind a person or task that spikes you. Notice the first body marker, hot cheeks, dry mouth, a soft nausea under ribs. Decode T3 boundary breach or T2 overload or whatever fits. Say the verb in your head. Choose a 90-second move. Deliver it now if you can, or rehearse the exact words and feel the micro-movements of your mouth forming them. Ledger, audit. If low, pick one deposit. Exhale longer than your inhale 3 times. Relax your tongue, drink water. Mark the end with a small phrase, loop closed for now. Your system will feel a hair more spacious. That hair matters. Because life throws compounding threats, T1 piles onto T2, you'll learn the stack splitter. When 2 codes fire at once, you split them into serial runs instead of juggling. Choose the code that protects safety first, then the one that returns clarity. Example, in a tense email with time pressure, T3 plus T1, protect with a boundary sentence. I can deliver X by Friday or Y by Wednesday, which helps more. Then clarify with one question. Trying to do both at once floods your RAM. Serial beats scramble. An anecdote from a tiny startup office that smelled like pizza and ambition. Lewis had 3 crises before noon. Investor email implied impatience, T4, a key hire wanted more time, T1, and a deploy failed, T2. Old Lewis would have flailed. New Lewis ran stack splitter. Repair first. I want to protect your trust and the truth. Here's our exact state and next check-in. Clarify second. What date would let you feel prepared to say yes or no? Simplify third. Roll back, test one path, report in 10. He hit all 3 in 12 minutes because he ran verbs, not vibes. His shoulders didn't climb to his ears for the first time in weeks. Notice your hands. Are they cool or warm? Flex your fingers slowly, as if squeezing water from a sponge. Feel the change in blood flow. Your ledger likes movement that doesn't announce itself. A single minute of physical change can extend your mental runway by miles. You'll want a rapid reset for rooms that flood you with second-hand threat. Use the micro-exit, a 20-second ritual that keeps your budget from being pickpocketed. Step out, literally or mentally, touch a cool surface, breathe 1446, choose a code and a verb, and return with a single sentence ready. Let's set scope in one line. One decision before details. You are not avoiding, you are re-entering resourced. When shame shows up, and it will, remember it's a T4 with a loud echo. Repair doesn't mean self-punishment. It means naming the miss and the step. Use the two-part repair, fact plus forward. I missed the deadline by 4 hours. I'm proposing a 3 p.m. delivery and a daily 10-minute check to prevent repeat. Ledger deposit immediately after walk, breath, water, so your body doesn't tattoo shame into your spine. Shame wants to make a home. You give it a hotel room with a checkout time. Another story, softer light. Mara, a high school teacher, lost her temper in class and saw a student's face close like a book. The wave of T4 hit hard. Old pattern, self-flagellate, avoid, then overcompensate. Converter, repair, she wrote a sentence on a note card. I care about you in our class, I was too sharp, can we reset? Ledger, she took 3 slow breaths leaning against cool tile, rolled her shoulders, drank water. After class, she read the line with a calm exhale. The student nodded, repair began. Mara walked home lighter, not because it was easy, but because she moved the right verb. Your identity keeps anchoring all of this. You are not a fragile person trying to dodge threat. You are a steady operator translating weather into work and balancing your budget with care. The operator is not glamorous. The operator is consistent. Consistency under fire is charisma's quiet sibling. People trust it more. Close with a field kit you can carry into tomorrow morning. Put the code card where your fingers will find it. Set 2 ledger audit reminders. Choose 1 doorway for a micro-exit if needed. Write 1% courage ask you could use in your next meeting. Then take 1 breath now, slow and warm, and feel the back of your heart soften a shade as your ribs widen. Listen for the farthest sound. Notice the temperature on your forearms. Sense the tiny pause at the top of your next inhale. In that pause, you can always choose a verb. You can always add a deposit. Threat becomes task. Deficit becomes balance. You are the awareness watching the ledger and the codes, not the spike, not the story. You choose, you deliver, you repair, you rest. Then you choose again. You've built protocols for the moments that find you. Now you'll build training that lets you find the moments first. Elite operators don't wait for pressure, they rehearse it. You'll learn 2 frameworks that harden calm without hardening your heart: the pressure rehearsal loop and the trigger translation table. One lets you simulate heat on your schedule until your nervous system stops confusing urgency with emergency. The other turns recurring triggers into predictable moves, so surprise loses its fangs. When you practice like this, presence stops being an accident and becomes muscle memory. We start with environment always. Sense the air as it enters your nose, a thread of cool across the inner wall. Notice the space behind your eyes, small but real, like the room has just widened by half an inch. Feel the weight at your sit bones, the line from crown to tail, not stiff, simply stacked. Your body is the dojo. You train in it even when the city outside is rushing. The pressure rehearsal loop has 5 phases: prime, simulate, stabilize, simplify, stamp. Prime gives your brain a mission so it doesn't interpret rehearsal as random pain. Simulate creates controlled heat using a constraint or a countdown. Stabilize applies a protocol, 4-4-6, stop, widen, sentry, spotlight, while the heat is still on. Simplify chooses the smallest wise action that fits the scenario. Stamp tags the success in your nervous system, so the pattern sticks. 10 minutes tops. You are not trying to suffer, you are teaching your body to recognize and ride a wave. Here's a home version. Prime with a 10-word red thread. Hold steady under countdown. Ask one clarifying question. Simulate by setting a 2-minute timer and opening the email that tightens your jaw. Let the timer tick in sight. Feel the small adrenaline lift. Stabilize with 2 rounds of 4-4-6 while your eyes rest softly on a single point. Simplify by drafting the first line that requests the one detail you lack. Stamp by saying out loud, "That was me choosing," then feeling the loose jaw and wider ribs for 3 breaths. Your biology learns only what it can feel. Give it something clean to feel. A story from a warehouse at dawn where the air smelled like cardboard and coffee. Nico ran the floor. Trucks arrived like weather, sometimes gentle mist, sometimes sideways rain. He used to wait for the worst day to teach him. Then he installed the loop. At 6:30 a.m., before the first spike, he primed, reduce chaos by 1 degree, ask for time and quantity. He simulated by setting a 5-minute clock and imagining 3 trucks arriving at once while he stared at the dock schedule. He stabilized with stop, widen, and a boxy breath that expanded his back. He simplified by choosing 1 inch, call dispatch and confirm which load hits first. He stamped by touching a cold metal railing and saying, "This is what choosing feels like." When the triple arrival finally happened, his nervous system recognized the dress rehearsal. He didn't move faster, he moved cleaner. The crew felt it and matched him. Pause here, taste the faint flavor in your mouth, mint, coffee, neutral. Hear the farthest sound in your space, then the nearest. Let your exhale slow like a tide pulling back from shore. This alternation, far, near, slow, steady, trains your vestibular system to stop reading ordinary life as a cliff. The second framework is the trigger translation table. Most people treat triggers like explosives, avoid or detonate. You will treat them like road signs. The table has 3 columns, Q meaning move. Q is the sensory spark that reliably jolts you, the calendar ping, the ex's name, a colleague's sigh, a certain fluorescent hour of the afternoon. Meaning is the clean translation you assign to that cue, not the catastrophic one. Move is the protocol you run within 60 seconds. The table removes debate. You are not arguing with history, you're reading a map. Example Q, calendar ping at 10 to the hour. Old meaning, I'm late, I'm failing, I'm drowning. New meaning, threshold bell. Move 2 breath 4-4-6, red thread whisper first 15 seconds for the next block. Q partners clip tone, old meaning, rejection incoming. New meaning, reveal pressure. Move ask, what's the single thing you're holding right now? Q a notification with your boss's initials. Old meaning, prepare defense. New meaning, clarify scope. Move reply with 1 question that defines done. Over 2 weeks, you'll fill 5 or 6 rows. More would be decoration, fewer become doctrine. Anecdote from a gallery with white walls and shoes that click on polished concrete. Sora, a curator, found her trigger in a donor's pauses. When he went silent, her chest flamed and she over-explained. She built a row in her table. Cue donor silence. Meaning, reflective window. Move, 3 count inhale, 6 count exhale, then a question that narrows the decision. At the next meeting, the pause came like a held breath. She breathed, then asked, "If you imagine the piece in this corner, what do you feel?" He smiled and said, "Relief." Money followed. The art was the art, yes. The trigger translation let the art reach daylight. Sensory check. Slide your attention to your hands. Feel the skin temperature on the backs, cooler than the palms. Wiggle your fingers slowly, noticing a faint pumping warmth arrive. Your body is not a problem to solve, it is the instrument that plays under heat. You'll craft the loop and the table into a daily ritual with a pressure circuit, 3 tiny rounds spaced through the day that keep your edges sharp without fraying you. Morning, a countdown email rehearsal. Midday, a conversation rehearsal, prime protect relationship, name the ask, simulate by imagining the least generous response, stabilize with stop, widen, simplify the first sentence you'll use. Evening, a recovery rehearsal where the simulate is mild, walking slower than your urgency wants, exhaling through a straw while the sink stacks with dishes, saying one graceful stop line at the laptop. You are smoothing the runway at 3 predictable times, so takeoff and landing don't yank your nervous system around. Under the hood, the loop shrinks the time between amygdala spike and prefrontal return by running the bridge on purpose. The table reduces prediction error, your brain hates surprises and burns glucose trying to resolve them. When a cue has a known meaning and a rehearsed move, your prediction machine stops screaming and starts steering. You're not removing life's complexity, you're removing its ambiguity at the first millisecond. Run a live circuit right now. Prime with a sentence, choose one verb under a countdown. Simulate with a 60-second timer and an open tab you've been avoiding. Stabilize with a single 446. Simplify by writing the first ugly line. Stamp by saying, "That was me choosing," and touching an anchor point, knuckle, pen, cap, cool mug. Then build one row for your table. Pick a cue, assign meaning, script a move. Read it once out loud. The out loud part tells your auditory cortex this matters. The more channels you recruit, the faster you wire. Because your attention is a creature of posture and gaze, you'll add a micro drill that makes stabilize even faster. The gaze lock triangle. Pick 3 points in your field of view, 2 wide in the periphery, 1 central. As the countdown runs, shift your eyes from left to right to center, then settle on the center while you exhale through rounded lips. This trains your ocular system to enter a search-widen focus cycle without darting. Your spotlight learns that steadiness is a choice, not an accident. An image from a rehearsal studio that smelled faintly of rosin and dust. Ludo, a violist, always fumbled entrances after long rests. The cue was the conductor's eyebrow, old meaning, judgment incoming. Move became scramble. He wrote on his table, cue, eyebrow lift, meaning, time window opening. Move, gaze lock triangle on stand left right center, 1 4 4 6, whisper count, breathe, land. In performance, the eyebrow rose like a tide. He landed the phrase with hands that felt twice his age and twice his steadiness. The audience heard clean music. He felt a clean system. Check your throat. Is there a gate feeling, iron and narrow? Place your tongue softly on the roof of your mouth, just behind your front teeth. Inhale so the back of your ribs expand. Exhale like fog on a mirror. Feel the gate soften half a notch. The body always tells you when the training is working. You don't need a spreadsheet for that data, you need attention. You'll elevate the loop with progressive load. Start with mild heat, timers, mild stakes. Move to moderate. Rehearse a boundary sentence out loud while your heart rate is slightly elevated from stairs. Later, add complexity. Run 4-4-6 while someone asks you a simple math question, then answer calmly. This is cross-training for presence. You are teaching your system to keep breath and language online while other parts work. A firefighter practices in smoke with visibility low. You practice in micro-smoke. No danger, real sensation. Add one more piece, the after-action alchemy. Immediately after a pressure rep, real or rehearsed, you answer 3 sentences in your head. What was the first cue I noticed? Which move did I run? What body cue tells me I chose? That last one anchors learning in sensation. You might feel a warmer chest, a cooler forehead, a looser jaw, or a wider back. Say it plainly, cool forehead means chosen. Your RAS will tag that bodily postcard and find it faster next time. A short story in a neon-bright open office. Bridget, a designer, had a creative director who loved last-minute, small tweaks that were never small. Her trigger, the phrase, one quick thing. Old meaning, your work isn't good. New meaning, scope test. Move, clarify what changes and what stays, offer two options. She rehearsed in the morning with a timer, stabilized with a soft exhale and a hand on the desk edge for tactile grounding. When the real one quick thing came at 5:54 p.m., she didn't tense up and stay late by default. She asked, if we only changed copy today and layout tomorrow, which moves the line? The director chose copy. Bridget left on time. Evening light felt like a prize she had earned on purpose. Your nervous system needs recovery just as much as rehearsal. You'll pair the loop with the recovery triangle: breath, light, touch. Breath is 2 minutes of extended exhale, 4-4-6 or 5-5-7. Light is natural light on your retinas for a minute, window, doorway, outside, without staring at the sun, simply letting your eyes know the world is bigger than the screen. Touch is deliberate contact with something that grounds: cool countertop, warm mug, textured fabric, while naming the texture in your head. You run this triangle after a simulation or a real hit to prevent residue from accreting. Clean nervous systems remember what to do. Dirty ones remember how to feel stuck. Sensory beat. Feel your forearms against your desk or your legs. Notice the slight drag of fabric on skin. Hear the appliance hum, the low road noise, the small life of your space. Allow one slow yawn if it wants to come. Yawning downregulates arousal. Then sit a hair taller, not rigid, simply awake. Because pressure loves to masquerade as personality, I'm just not good at X. You'll use identity rehearsal inside the loop. At prime, add a whispered identity cue: I am the steady guide. I am the kind boundary. I am the clear question. You're not faking, you're seeding your RAs to fetch behaviors that match the role. Maya, the account manager, did this before. You will do it proactively now. Over weeks, the identity cue feels less like a costume and more like your default posture under heat. Let's put this all together for a high-friction scenario. Saying no to a late ad. Prime, protect relationship, protect scope, ask the constraint. Identity, I am the kind boundary. Simulate, set a 90-second timer and imagine the least generous phrasing you might hear. Stabilize, gaze lock triangle, then 1446. Simplify, script your bridge line. I want to protect trust and the outcome. That change means moving X. Would you prefer X by Friday or keep scope and hit Wednesday? Stamp, that was me choosing. Warm chest as receipt. Table row created. Cue, small change phrase. Meaning, scope test. Move, bridge line. Recovery triangle after the call. This is not theater, it's choreography. A tight anecdote from a hospital overnight. Kemi, a resident, dreaded the sharp tone of one attending. Cue, his clipped, what's the plan? Meaning, structure request. Move, state outcome, state risk, ask for constraint. She rehearsed in stairwells between pages, breath clouding the cold air, timer on her watch, gaze lock on 3 stairwell points. At 3 a.m., under fluorescent glare, the question came. Her stomach tried to fall through the floor. She felt her feet, exhaled, and said, Plan A, fluids and observe. Risk is missed blade. Constraint is ore availability. Want me to page surgery now or watch 1 hour? He said, watch 1 hour. His tone didn't sugar, it didn't need to. Her system stayed online. She remembered the night not as damage, but as training. Feel your own feet now. Press them into the floor and sense the return pressure. Notice how the room's edges appear when your soles send information up your spine. The body prefers simple truths. I am here. There is ground. I can breathe and choose. If boredom or resistance rises, why practice? I'll handle it live. Recognize the defense. That's the part of you protecting a familiar identity, reactive, heroic, exhausted. Thank it and run one tiny loop anyway. You're building a new reputation with yourself, reliable, measured, kind under fire. Reliability is not glamorous from the inside. From the outside, it looks like grace. Because you'll be training, you need rest that actually rests. Install a micro-close for each day. Close the loop with today is complete enough. Write a 3-line snapshot. One cue you handled, one move you ran, one body cue you felt, and set a single red thread for tomorrow. Then a minute of recovery triangle. Phones can be addictive confetti. Your nervous system needs quiet confetti, breath, light, touch, so sleep starts without dragging the day across the threshold. We finish with a pocket scene and a promise. I sat before a blank page with an old urge to earn calm by suffering first. I set a 2-minute timer and watched seconds fall like snow. Prime, reduce confusion by 1 degree. Identity, I am the clear question. Simulate, open the document and let my chest buzz on purpose. Stabilize, gaze lock 446. Simplify, typed an ugly first line. Stamp, that was me choosing, jaw loose. The page didn't turn into poetry. It turned into progress. Training, not drama. That's the promise. You will meet pressure with practiced warmth, not theater. One more breath. Inhale through your nose and feel the back of your ribs widen. Hold softly. Exhale as if fogging a small mirror, letting your shoulders drop a fraction. Whisper your identity cue. Whisper your red thread. Touch your pocket anchor. Imagine your trigger table's first row clear as print. You are the awareness designing the weather practice, not the weather. Under fire, you will not perform calm. You will remember it. Pressure doesn't just live inside you. It lives between you and other people. In the space of a glance, a pause, a sentence that lands an inch to the left, nervous systems talk to each other. If you don't know how to read that language under heat, you'll spend your best energy defending and decoding instead of moving. Today you'll install 2 frameworks that make you unflappable in conversations that matter: the Rupture, Repair Loop, and the Clear Then Care protocol. One teaches you to meet conflict without flinch and to restore trust on purpose. The other sequences your words so truth lands clean and people feel held even when the message is hard. Together, they turn tense rooms into places where decisions get made and dignity stays intact. Start with the channel your body is broadcasting on right now. Feel the temperature along your cheeks, cooler near the jaw hinge, warmer under the eyes. Notice your breath touching the back of your throat like a thin ribbon. Sense the weight of your feet inside your shoes or against the floor, heels heavy, toes light. Let your shoulders hang from your ribs as if they're draped on sturdy pegs. This is your baseline. In conversation, your body is the instrument. You tune it before you play. The Rupture Repair Loop is simple on paper and powerful in the wild. 3 moves: mark, mend, move. Mark names the moment of strain in plain, blame-free language so the nervous systems in the room agree on what just happened. Mend adds a small act that reduces threat, clarifying intent, owning a miss, or asking a grounded question that releases pressure. Move restores the forward path with 1 concrete next inch. The loop is fast. You don't deliver a speech. You take the room by the hand and step over the crack together. Under stress, most people skip mark and go straight to move, which convinces the other person you didn't feel the impact. Or they skip move and sink into apology theater that floods the room. The loop keeps proportion and direction. Your amygdala wants to argue, defend, or disappear. The loop asks your prefrontal cortex to narrate the physics, a micro break in trust, a small stitch, and the hike continues. A story in a glass-walled room where voices bounced. Jonah presented a roadmap. Midway through, a senior manager cut in with, "So, did you talk to actual customers?" The room tightened. Jonah's throat closed, heat fanned up his neck. Old Jonah would have defended with a spreadsheet and lost the room. He ran the loop. "Mark, that landed as doubt. I want to make sure we hear it." Mend, short answer, "Yes, 5 this week. We can open the raw notes." Move, if it helps. We can anchor the next slide in one customer's exact words. The manager nodded, the room unclenched. The crack didn't widen. The hike continued. Feel your own throat now. Is there a gate, iron, narrow? Rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth just behind your front teeth. Inhale so the sides of your ribs widen, tiny sails catching wind. Exhale through softened lips as if fogging a small mirror. The gate loosens half a notch. You're teaching your body what repairity feels like. Pair the loop with the clear then care protocol. It orders your sentences so they land with both truth and warmth when stakes are high. Step 1 is clear. Deliver the core message in one sentence that a neutral observer would recognize as accurate. Step 2 is care. Add a short line that names your positive intent for the person or the relationship. Step 3 is ask. Pose a single question that moves the decision forward. Clear before care prevents the sugar-first trap that confuses people about what you mean. Care before ask prevents your words from landing like a verdict. Ask converts air into movement. Your tone stays steady, exhale long, eyes resting on one person's face or on a neutral point if they're not available. Science spare and useful. When messages are ambiguous, other people's brains fill the space with threat. Clarity reduces prediction error in their salience networks. Care cues social safety via the ventral vagal system. A focused question engages executive function instead of defensive circuits. Translation, clear, care, ask keeps the other person's intelligence online. You're not manipulating, you're stewarding biology so the conversation can do real work. Run a small drill right now. Think of a sentence you've been avoiding. Start with clear. We won't hit Friday with the current scope. Add care. I want to protect trust and your timeline. Add ask. Do you prefer a smaller feature by Friday or the full version next Wednesday? Feel the difference in your chest between this sequence and a vague apology. One feels like a hallway with walls and lights. The other feels like fog with a hand wave. Your body believes walls and lights. An anecdote from a kitchen that smelled like ginger and steam. Myra told her brother she couldn't host the holiday this year. He went quiet, then clipped. Old Myra would have stacked explanations until both felt worse. New Myra ran clear, care ask. I'm not hosting this year. Clear, I care about keeping it joyful and not resentful. Care, would it help if I brought the mains and you hosted, or should we move to the 27th at my place? Ask. He exhaled, shoulders dropping. Bring the mains, I'll do the rest. The holiday tasted like food, not smoke. Notice the weight of fabric on your shoulders, the pull of gravity along your spine. Hear the faintest sound in your space, air vent, distant street, a neighbor's footfall. These sensory beats are not indulgent. They're the breaks in your sentence that keep your voice from riding up into panic. Under pressure, your breath tries to run on the front of your chest. You're training it to spread into the sides and back so your language rides a thicker current. You'll strengthen conversation under fire with the 90-second empathy map, a micro-practice that calms threat without collapsing boundaries. It has 3 quiet steps you run in your head before or during a hard exchange. Place, pressure, prize. Place imaginings where the other person is standing inside their world with one concrete detail. Pressure names the single constraint they're likely carrying. Prize imagines what win they're chasing if they felt safe. You do this not to let them off the hook, but to shift your stance from adversary to architect. Architect brains design options, adversary brains design attacks. Let's try it on the colleague who always nitpicks late. Place: they're in a small apartment with 2 kids and spotty Wi-Fi at 9 p.m. Pressure: they fear being blamed for misses. Prize: they want to be seen as thoughtful and indispensable. Now run clear, care ask through that map. You're raising good details late in the cycle. Clear with acknowledgement. I want your thinking shaping the work earlier. Care for dignity and impact. Could we get your top 2 risks by Tuesday noon so we can integrate them? Ask aligned with their prize. You didn't bend, you built a bridge. Add another named method for when feedback turns hot, the 2-beat buffer. When a sentence hits like a slap, you insert exactly 2 beats before you respond. Beat 1 is a breath with a longer exhale. Beat 2 is a name and aim microline. Let me make sure I've got the core point, or I want to answer the real question. Those 8 words buy your prefrontal cortex a seat at the table. Your tone drops a half step. Your jaw loosens. You answer what matters, not the sting. A scene from a hallway with cold tile and warm nerves. Talia's manager said, "Your updates are always too long." The word always scratched her skin from the inside. 2-beat buffer. Breath then, let me make sure I've got the core point. If I gave 1 outcome and 1 risk in 30 seconds, would that fit? Manager: yes. The comment turned from global judgment into a design spec. Later, Talia built a clear, care, ask micro template for updates. Her body stopped bracing at 9:59 before the stand-up. Biology respects specificity. Check your eyes. Let them soften to widen your field, then pick a single point, corner of a frame, the smallest pixel, and let your gaze rest there while you exhale. The shift from wide to single is the gaze lock you learned earlier, now a social tool. When someone escalates, your eyes become a steady metronome for the room. Because repair is a verb, not a vibe, you'll keep a pocket kit called the 3-part repair. It's not an apology script, it's a trust builder. Part 1 is the fact line, a single sentence naming what you did without qualifiers. Part 2 is the impact line, 1 sentence naming the effect on them in language they might use. Part 3 is the forward line, 1 sentence stating what you'll do differently next time and what you can do right now. Delivered slowly, shoulders down, exhale long, this kit turns shame into agency. Use it sparingly and sincerely. Over-apology is just another form of avoidance. An example you can feel in your mouth. I missed the handoff by a day. Fact. That left you exposed in the client call. Impact. I'll run a 10-minute preview the morning of, and today I can send the revised deck in an hour. Forward. Hear how your chest loosens when you speak it. That's your nervous system recognizing direction. You'll add a boundary companion for chronic over-askers, the yes-if line. It preserves generosity and protects scope. The structure is yes if X, otherwise Y by Z. You're not pushing people away, you're inviting them into clarity. Pair it with a soft face and a steady voice. Soft face signals no war, steady voice signals no wobble. Story from a non-profit office with posters and not enough chairs. Renata was the person who always came through, which meant she never left on time. She installed the yes-if line. When asked to just handle a last-minute grant, she said, "Yes, if we move Friday's newsletter to next week. Otherwise, I can give you an outline by Thursday." Her manager blinked, recalibrated, and moved the newsletter. Renata walked out at 5:35 with her shoulders even. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors with hinges that work. Notice your hands. Are your palms warmer than the backs? Flex your fingers slow, feeling a faint warmth bloom. Let your jaw unclench so your top and bottom teeth part a millimeter. Hear the smallest hum in your space. These are your in-conversation resets. You can do them while nodding, while listening, while choosing the next sentence. Your body becomes a quiet, trustworthy room your words come from. Feedback scares people because it feels like an identity referendum. You'll reduce that terror with the frame first move. Before delivering content, you name the frame, skill, behavior, or outcome. I want to talk about a behavior I'm seeing in meetings. Or this is about the outcome quality last sprint. Framing pulls identity out of the dock. The trial concerns one narrow charge, not the person's soul. Combine the frame with a single observable example and a forward ask. Clarity, care, ask, always the spine. A story from a studio that smelled like dust and light. I once received feedback that my notes were too much. I ran frame first. Is this about the behavior, timing, and length, or the outcome, the effect on the piece? The director said, behavior, good. I switched my lens to behavior. Deliver one note per minute, pause, ask if more helps. The work got better, my biology stopped auditioning for approval. Frame first is permission architecture. It gives your nervous system rails. Because people read you as much as they hear you, tune your nonverbals with the open trapezoid, sternum soft, shoulders wide, elbows slightly away from ribs, hands visible at or below chest height. The shape signals no weapon, no collapse. Pair it with a half-smile neutral, the expression that says, I'm here, not attacking, not appeasing. Your words can be firm while your face says, we're okay. When your body lies, the room believes the body. Make it tell the truth you want to live. You'll meet the inevitable. Someone weaponizes your calm. Look at you being so cool, must be nice. Don't take the bait. Use the mirror bridge line. Mirror their observation without heat, then bridge to the work. I'm steady because I care about getting this right. If we pick one decision now, which unlocks the most? You refuse the meta-argument about your tone and return to the task where your protocols win. Sensory beat. Feel the contact points that hold you, 2 sit bones, 2 feet. Let your breath expand toward your low back. Listen for a sound beyond your room. The wider the map your senses carry, the narrower the target your words can hit. Practice time. Think of a near-term hard conversation. Write a 10-word red thread. Run a 90-second empathy map. Place, pressure, prize. Script a clear care ask line plus a yes, if or 3-part repair line if relevant. Rehearse once out loud with an extended exhale and the open trapezoid posture. Then add the 2-beat buffer to your pocket. This is not theater. It's choreography that makes integrity possible under heat. A story to tuck in your pocket for when the room tilts. Kareem, a senior IC, needed to tell a beloved peer that their pull requests kept breaking tests. He felt the tug to soften until nothing was said. He ran his map. Place, the peer had a newborn at home. Pressure, sleep debt. Prize, to still be seen as excellent. Clear care ask, 3 of the last 5 PRs broke tests. Clear, you're one of our strongest engineers and I want to keep you in that lane. Care. What would help pairing on tests this week or setting a hard stop for merges at 4? Ask. The peer rubbed his temples, laughed a little and picked pairing. Kareem's chest stayed open. The team shipped with fewer fires. Friendship remained made of steel, not eggshells. You'll inevitably receive sloppy feedback. Use the coarse to crisp filter. Step 1. Harvest the intention from the course. So the aim is to make this hit harder. Step 2. Request a crisp criterion. If it hit harder, what 3 words would you hear from the audience? Step 3. Propose a test. Let me try a version with stronger verbs and one with a tighter arc. We'll compare. You turn fog into a fork in the road, then you walk one prong in public. The room sees movement, your body sees a path. Notice the tiny coolness at the inner rim of your nostrils on your next inhale. Feel the warm glide out. Let your shoulder blades slide down and wide like a coat settling on a hanger. You are teaching your body that hard talk doesn't require armor. It asks for architecture. Underneath all this is the identity move. You are not a people-pleaser learning tricks. You are a clear, kind operator who protects truth and relationship at the same time. Your calm isn't a mask. It's a practiced environment you bring into rooms. People will feel it through your breath, your pace, your posture, your verbs. You will feel it in the temperature of your cheeks, the looseness of your jaw, the way time widens by a half second when you need it most. We'll finish with a pocket ritual you can run in any doorway before a hard talk. Hand touches the frame, cool wood, solid, whisper your red thread, open trapezoid, 1446. Clear line first, care line second, ask line ready, 2-beat buffer installed, yes, if or repair in your pocket, then step through. If a rupture appears, mark it, mend it, move it. If their heat rises, mirror and bridge. After, run 1 minute of breath, light, touch, your recovery triangle, so you don't carry the conversation into the next room like a ghost. You can feel it now, can't you? The difference between a body that braces for people and a body that meets people with rails and light. Your chest doesn't have to be an arena. It can be a harbor. You don't have to win every moment. You just have to keep choosing the next wise inch with words that fit your spine. Take one more breath with me. Inhale and feel your low back widen. Hold softly. Exhale like warm fog. Hear the farthest sound. Sense the edges of the room. Then whisper the identity you're rehearsing. I am the steady truth with a kind edge. You are the awareness guiding the weather between nervous systems, not the gust that blows chairs over. Under fire, you won't perform empathy. You'll practice clarity, care, and repair until they are the way your voice moves. There's a reason some people look unbreakable while carrying loads that would fold anyone else. It isn't thicker skin or a life without storms. It's cadence. They move at a tempo that fits the work and keeps their nervous system resourced. Today you'll wire cadence into your days with 2 frameworks, the tempo tuning curve and the failure to feedback transmute. One teaches you how to set and reset your speed so you don't sprint stale and stall at the finish. The other flips misses into material in under 3 minutes, so shame can't harden into identity. With both, you stop bracing through days and start surfing them, picking up power with each wave instead of being dragged. Feel your current tempo. Notice the pace of your breath, short and high or low and even. Feel the micro vibration in your forearms. Is it a hum or a buzz? Sense the temperature along your cheeks, cooler near the jaw hinge, warmer beneath the eyes. Without changing anything, witness it. Your body is a metronome. If you ignore it, you'll sink to the loudest room and call it fate. If you tune it, you'll sink to your mission and call it choice. The tempo tuning curve has 4 arcs you cycle through all day: warm, peak, glide, land. Warm is the gentle ramp that brings your prefrontal cortex online without yanking your amygdala's tail. Peak is the focused sprint where you run one thread hot and clean. Glide is the deliberate downshift that keeps gains without burning the clutch. Land is the signature stop that tags the win and sets the next start so residue doesn't chase you. Most people try to live in peak and crash. Operators ride the whole curve every 90 to 120 minutes, like breathing for work. Warm is 2 minutes, peak is 40 to 60, glide is 3 to 5, land is 1 to 2. The numbers aren't law, the shape is. You've touched pieces of this already: 4-4-6 breath, red thread, elastic stop. Now you'll stack them. Warm opens with a breath ladder. Inhale 4, exhale 4, inhale 5, exhale 5, inhale 6, exhale 6, plus a sensory sweep of 5 contact points. You write a 10-word red thread and lay a 2-minute landing strip. Peak begins with Sentry Spotlight. Filter whispered, spotlight locked to a single inch. You run a signal to intention gate whenever a ping hits, and you protect the lane with the one-screen rule. Glide is the 20-20-20 reset, distance gaze, slow exhale, shoulders and wrists, paired with a single sentence to future you. Next, tighten paragraph 2. Land is a 3-breath 4-4-6, one sentence of receipt. That was me choosing, and a micro-celebration your biology can feel, a sip of water with attention, a slow stand that lengthens your spine, a warm palm over your sternum. You don't earn land by suffering. You earn it by finishing a thread with gentleness. A story from a factory floor that smelled like oil and oranges from a break room bowl. Elena managed a mixed-shift crew and 1,000 interruptions. She used to grind until her mind felt like sand. She installed the curve for report writing blocks. Warm, 2-minute breath ladder facing a window that held a rectangle of sky, fingers on the keyboard to tell her body, we are starting. Peak 40 minutes of one window, red thread visible, Sentry filter, clarify bottleneck, propose 2 options. Glide, step to the threshold, 20 seconds of distance, gaze down the hall, shoulders rolling down and back, 1 sentence to future Elena at the top of the file. Land 3-4-4-6 breaths, that was me choosing, and a small cup of water like a toast. After 2 weeks, she said the reports felt round instead of serrated. Same demand, new cadence. Her team stopped flinching at her doorway. When cadence stabilizes you, it stabilizes the room. Breathe with me now so your nervous system hears the word tempo and finds a handle. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold 4, exhale for 6, letting your ribs widen more to the sides than the front. Feel the air cool your nostrils and warm your throat on the way out. Notice the weight at your sit bones like 2 smooth stones, even and supportive. Whisper, warm, peak, glide, land. Let the words match your breath. Your reticular activating system is listening. It will fetch evidence that these arcs fit the next hour. We pair the curve with a twin idea, micro tempo inside macro tempo. If your day is a long project, each conversation and task sits on its own mini curve. Before you unmute, warm with a single 4-4-6 and a clear line. During the conversation, hold peak with Sentry, spotlight, and a 2-beat buffer at moments of heat. Glide by naming 1 sentence to capture the core decision. Land with a boundary line. I'm stopping here so I can deliver what we chose. You will feel time widen by a half second in the spots you used to rush through. That half second is leadership's secret currency. Because life doesn't honor plans, you need a way to get back on the curve when you're thrown. Use the snapback 3 moves, 30 seconds. Name where you fell off. I lost glide and sprinted into the next thing. Run 1-4-4-6. Write the next land sentence at the top of your doc. That's it. The snapback keeps you from expanding a wobble into a day-long crash. Precision beats penance. Check your senses. Hear the farthest sound you can catch without strain. A car, a bird, a vent's hum. Feel the fabric on your shoulders and the exact line where air meets skin at your wrist. Let your eyes soften to take in the edges of the room, then pick 1 point the size of a period and rest your gaze there as your exhale lengthens. Your body is catching the beat. Your mind will follow. Now the second framework, failure to feedback transmute, misses happen. Under fire, the miss is rarely what sinks you, it's the meltdown you drag behind it. The transmute turns any miss, late reply, botched sentence, dropped ball, into learning and repair before shame cements. 3 minutes, 3 phases, freeze frame, extract signal, forward stitch. Freeze frame is 60 seconds where you replay the moment like slow video with subtitles, only facts, time, place, words said, body cues. Extract signal is 90 seconds to name the one leverage point that would have changed the outcome if you ran it. Earlier clarify question, yes, if line, a red thread set. Forward stitch is 60 seconds to choose one reversible behavior and one repair sentence, plus a single tag to anchor the new pattern in your body. You deliver the repair if appropriate, and you perform the new behavior within 24 hours. The cycle ends with a breath that marks loop closed. You do not let rumination keep the loop open. An anecdote from a demo room with too much glass and not enough oxygen. D missed a cue and talked over a client. He saw the flinch, kept speaking, and walked out tasting metal. Old D would self-flash in silence and avoid. He ran the transmute. Freeze frame, 10:42 a.m., slide 4, client's eyes dipped, he inhaled to speak. D's chest hot, jaw locked, breath high. Extract signal, 2-beat buffer would have saved it. Ask one question, then pause. Forward stitch, new behavior, insert 2-beat after any inhale, I don't own. Repair sentence, I cut you off at slide 4, that's on me. If you're willing, what question was forming? Tag, cool fingers on glass table, exhale long. He sent the line, got the question, answered cleanly, and ran a countdown rehearsal for tomorrow's call. The miss turned into muscle. Shame didn't get a lease. Science, brief and useful. When you freeze frame, you move activity from limbic loops to cortical maps. The brain encodes the sequence as information rather than indictment. Extracting the signal gives your salience network a single target, otherwise it hunts everywhere and never lands. By stitching forward fast, you recruit the basal ganglia to lay down a new habit track before the old one solidifies. The tag anchors the learning in interoception, body sensation, so you can find it under pressure. Your nervous system learns what relief feels like when you repair and what choice feels like when you run the new move. Try a light transmute right now on something tiny from this week. Freeze frame the moment, see the room, hear the sentence, feel the tug in your throat or the buzz in your hands. Extract a single signal, I needed to ask for the constraint, or I needed to stop at 85%. Stitch forward with one behavior, pin red thread before I open Slack, and one repair line if relevant. Tag the learning in your body, warm chest, loose jaw, wider back. Say, loop closed. Your jaw will unclench a hair. That hair is the edge between a story that drags you and a story you direct. Cadence and transmute need bookends or they fade. Enter the daybook ritual, 2 minutes at start and end that coach your curve and capture your transmutations. Morning, write a single line, red thread, and circle your 2 peak blocks. Midday, jot a snapback if you fell off. Evening, 3 lines, 1 cue you handled, 1 curve you rode, 1 miss you transmuted. You don't write poetry, you write receipts. Receipts teach your Ras that you are the kind of person who trains. Notice the back of your neck where warmth meets air. Notice the tiny stretch when you lengthen your spine by 1 vertebra's worth. Feel the cool at your nostrils on the inhale, the warmth at your lips on the exhale. You are growing the habit of micro-checks that keep you inside your chosen tempo. The room hasn't changed. You have. Because some days arrive like a drumline, you need a way to store wins quickly so fatigue doesn't erase them. Use the Victory Vault, a 30-second mental shelf you stock with 3 micro-triumphs after peak blocks. You look back and feel 1 body cue for each, looser jaw on the boundary sentence, warmer chest after the repair, cooler forehead after the glide. Say, vaulted. The act is not sentimental. it is data storage. On bad days, you spend from this vault by replaying one of the three, letting your body remember the posture of choosing. Memory is a training partner when your calendar is. A story from a home office where a plant leaned toward a window and a dog snored. I had cut a chapter too long and felt the drag of sunk cost fear. My curve was off. I'd tried to peak without warm. I ran snapback, named the miss, 1446, wrote cut paragraph 5, move stat. Then I transmuted the earlier stall, freeze frame at 8:12, signal red thread missing, stitch, write the outcome line before cut. I felt the warmth spread across my sternum as the decision solidified. I vaulted it, chose clarity over attachment. That night, reviewing the daybook, the dog still snoring, I didn't feel like a hero. I felt like an operator who kept his hands on the controls. That's the feeling you're building. Because tempo lives in bodies and the world throws pebbles, add the micro-tempo shift, a 10-second trick to either speed you up cleanly or slow you without sludge. To accelerate, sharpen your gaze on a small point, inhale through the nose for 3, exhale for 3 through pursed lips, and speak one verb aloud, start, call, write. To decelerate, widen your gaze to take in the margins of the room, inhale 4, exhale 8, and whisper, finish well. You are teaching your autonomic system to follow commands from your prefrontal cortex. It will obey if you're consistent and gentle. Let's apply cadence to the messy middle of long pushes. In projects beyond a week, the middle is a swamp. Use the midpoint bridge, a 15-minute checkpoint that resets curve and transmute at halftime. You start with warm, breath ladder, sensory sweep. Then you run a compact transmute on one pattern that's bleeding energy, habitual late starts, sloppy handoffs, vague asks. You set a fresh red thread and mark a reversible experiment for the back half, morning peak instead of afternoon, a yes. If line practiced twice daily, a rupture, repair loop ready for the next tense check-in. You land by writing the exact first 15 seconds of tomorrow's start. People will say you got lucky. You'll know you built a bridge through the swamp the day the mud reached your knees. Sensory check. Press your feet into the ground and feel the return pressure through your calves. Roll your shoulders down a fraction and let your collarbones widen. Hear a sound outside your room and another inside, holding both without strain. This dual hearing is your social version of warm. It steadies the next conversation before you speak. Cadence touches identity when you stop confusing speed with value. Use the value-velocity split. When your chest tightens because you should be faster, you ask, is this a velocity problem or a value problem? If it's velocity, you adjust with the curve, shorter peaks, clearer red thread. If it's value, you check your principal map. Are you honoring clarity over speed or truth with care? The split prevents you from whipping yourself for being principled and calling it laziness. That whip steals days. The split returns hours. An anecdote in a tiny restaurant kitchen where pans sang and steam sweetened the air. Eva ran the pass, calling tickets. Friday service grew teeth. Her old self sped up until plates wobbled. New Eva ran value velocity. The value was consistency beats flair. So she cut her peak length in half, yelled fewer words with more clarity, used clear, care ask in micro, 2 minutes late, protect timing, fire table 6. She transmuted a dropped plate in real time, freeze frame, signal backup on station 3, stitch, float 1 runner for 10. At the end, she landed with a steady palm on the stainless table and 3 slow exhales. The crew said it felt like surfing. The rush didn't shrink. Their cadence did. Because rejection and failure carry heat that lingers, pair transmute with the rejection recode. It's a two-sentence reinterpretation you deliver within 10 minutes of a no. Sentence 1 names the skill to iterate. This is an ask-fit problem, not a worth problem. Sentence 2 names the experiment. Next time I'll lead with outcome Y and test a smaller yes. Then you perform a recovery triangle: breath, light, touch, so your body doesn't brand the no onto your identity. You don't become numb, you become teachable at speed. Notice your breath again. Let the inhale lift the low back more than the chest. Let the exhale slide down the back of your throat, warm and slow. Feel your jaw hang a millimeter looser. If you tilt your head slightly side to side, sense the muscles at the base of your skull unclench. Your biology is not a stubborn mule, it's a sensitive horse. If you steer kindly, it carries you farther. You'll meet the day when everything slips and shame snarls. When that happens, deploy the white flag reset. It's not surrender, it's truce. You say "white flag" out loud if you can to mark the end of thrashing. Then you run a minimal curve, one breath ladder, a single 10-word red thread, 5-minute peak on the smallest inch, a glide breath, and a land sentence. Then a compact transmute on the miss that most wants to tattoo itself across your forehead. After you step outside or to a window, let your eyes take in distance and touch something cool. The reset keeps you in the game without pretending it was nothing. It trains humility without collapse. Cadence is social too. Teams feel each other's tempo like musicians feel time. Use the rhythm check in meetings, one sentence at the top, warm with one breath, then one decision in 10 minutes, then glide with notes, then land with next inch. Speak it, breathe it, run it. Your room will learn. People who crave chaos will bristle and then breathe easier. People who crave a map will unclench. You are not imposing, you are tuning. A story to show you cadence in conflict. Naya and Drew looped the same argument each month about chore imbalance, a treadmill of micro-resentment. They built a Sunday rhythm check. Warm was a 2-minute sit on the floor, backs against the couch, breathing until jaws softened. Peak was 10 minutes where one spoke and one repeated back facts only. Glide was a 2-minute design of one reversible experiment, swap dinner nights, set a dish timer, hire help for one chore. Land was a touch on the kitchen counter, cool, real, paired with "that was us choosing." The argument didn't evaporate, it gained a tempo that ended in repair instead of debris. Their house felt less like a courtroom and more like a studio. Return to your own skin. Feel the seam where fabric meets wrist, the little ridge you rarely notice. Hear the smallest hum in your room. Let your tongue rest behind your top teeth. You are bringing your attention home so cadence can take root. When the city asks you to sprint and your inbox asks you to split in 5, you will know how to stay one person with one metronome and many moves. Because identity is the deepest metronome, speak this clearly. You are not a frantic person trying to become calm by force. You are a steady operator learning to run curves and transmutes until steadiness is inevitable. You are not a failure collecting proof. You are a learner collecting reps. The world will still throw fire. You will carry water in a bucket with a handle, not your bare hands. Handles matter. A closing drill for tonight. Pick one peak block tomorrow and sketch its curve on a sticky note. Warm 2 minutes, peak 45, glide 3, land 1. Write the red thread and the first 15 seconds. Place the note where your hand will touch it. Then write one transmute you anticipate needing. If I stumble saying no, 2-beat buffer and yes, if line, and the body tag you'll use, loose jaw. When you wake, touch the note, breathe 4-4-6, and say your identity cue out loud. I am the steady guide. Midday, vault 1 win. Evening, daybook 3 lines. Boring, good, boring is the new power. One last breath together. Inhale through your nose and feel the low back widen like a sail. Hold softly. Exhale like you're fogging a small pane of glass, shoulders dropping a notch. Hear the farthest sound. Sense the room's edges. Then whisper, warm, peak, glide, land, and feel where your body says yes. That yes is a doorway, walk through it. You are the awareness choosing tempo and transmuting misses, not the weather that tries to yank your hands off the wheel. Under fire, cadence is kindness. You'll give it to yourself on purpose. There's a kind of power that doesn't look like power from the outside. It's the power to end your day on purpose and begin the next one already steady. Most people try to win the day while sleep-deprived, inflamed, jittery, and drowning in blue light. They call it hustle. Their nervous system calls it a slow emergency. Today you'll wire two frameworks that give you unstoppable consistency without grinding your biology into dust: the Circadian Lock-In and the Values to Calendar Bridge. One tunes light, breath, heat, and story so your brain's clocks march in step. The other drags your principles from the clouds into appointments you actually keep. With both, you stop negotiating with mornings, you stop crashing into nights, and you build a life that carries you instead of a schedule that hunts you. Feel where the last night still lives in your body. Maybe a grit behind the eyes, a fuzz at the forehead, a jaw that wants to clench by default. Notice the temperature at your forearms, cooler than your chest. Hear the farthest sound, then the nearest. Don't judge any of it. The map comes before the fix. Your biology is waiting for a conductor. You're about to lift the baton. Circadian Lock-In is a 4-move loop you run for 7 days to reset your internal clocks and hardwire a reliable state. The moves are light, breath, temp, story. Light is 20 to 60 seconds of outdoor or window-facing daylight within an hour of waking, eyes relaxed, not staring at the sun, just letting photons tell your suprachiasmatic nucleus it's daytime now. Breath is a 3-minute 4-4-6 ladder that starts your vagal tone off gentle instead of jittery. Temp is a micro-contrast that nudges alertness without panic, cool water on wrists and cheeks, or a 30-second cooler rinse at the end of a shower, paired later in the evening with warm skin and dim light. Story is the single sentence you repeat morning and night that tells your RAS what day you're living. I am the steady guide. Today I move one thread. Morning story aims attention. Evening story signals closure. Today is complete enough. Tomorrow has a runway. Light sets the clock. Breath sets the tone. Temp sets the gear. Story sets the search terms. A story from a kitchen at 6:10 a.m., light blue on stainless, coffee scent not yet earned. Rohan, a product designer, used to wake to his phone and a flood of blue dots, heart rate already high before standing. He installed Lock-In. Before coffee, he stood by the window and let morning light hit the edges of his vision. He ran the 4-4-6 ladder while touching the cool sink, then splashed his wrists and cheeks. He whispered, steady guide, one thread, and then touched his pocket anchor on the pen. At night, he flipped the loop, lights warm and low, a mug cupped in both hands, hot shower, slow 4-4-6, and complete enough. Tomorrow has a runway. By day 4, his 3 p.m. crash felt like a slope instead of a cliff. By day 7, he wasn't negotiating with the snooze button. He was meeting his day like a guest he knew by name. Breathe with me now so your body hears what your mind is learning. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Again. On the hold, feel the back of your ribs widen like a book opening. On the exhale, let your shoulders drop by an invisible notch. Notice the cool air at your nostrils, the warmer air leaving. Say quietly, light, breath, temp, story. Your nervous system loves rhythm. Give it one it can live inside. Because pressure often spikes at night, you need a downshift that works even when your mind wants to sprint. Use the evening downshift pair, a companion to lock-in. Pair 1 is dim then do. Dim lights at least 1 hour before sleep, then do a 5-minute chores loop that closes tiny stressors, dishes, counters, clothes, without scrolling. Pair 2 is write then release. Write a 3-line snapshot, 1 choice you made, 1 inch you moved, 1 body cue you felt, then release your shoulders with a minute of 4-4-6. The writing empties your prefrontal cortex of loops. The breath tells your heart it can stop guarding the door. You're not chasing perfect sleep. You're signaling safety. An anecdote from a shared apartment where the hallway hum never stops. Kayla, a paramedic on rotating shifts, laughed at sleep hygiene because her schedule laughed first. She still built a lock-in for whatever morning she had. After night shifts, she kept light low, wore amber lenses on the ride home, and ran breath and temp in reverse. Warm shower, slow exhale, then a cooling of the room. She wrote complete enough, even if the day was chaos. On day shifts, she grabbed 10 seconds of full daylight at the station door and a splash of cool on the back of her neck, ran the ladder, then whispered, "Kind under fire." The point isn't tidy life, it's consistent signals. Her mood stopped swinging like a door in wind. Partners asked what changed. "I keep my clocks," she said. It was true. Check your senses again. Feel your tongue rest behind your top teeth. Notice the weight at your sit bones. Hear the farthest sound you can detect without straining. This is not fluff. It's how you tell your vestibular system you're in a safe, still room, not on a cliff at midnight. Lock-In has a tiny rule about caffeine you'll thank later. Earn it. 2 sips of water first, then light, then breath, then coffee. This 3-minute delay lowers the chance you confuse exhaustion for identity by letting cortisol wake you naturally before stacking caffeine on top. If you want to go further, pair caffeine with a red thread sentence so it becomes a focus cue, not a fray cue. Coffee becomes a spell you cast on a single thread, not gasoline tossed on every thought. Now the second framework, the values to calendar bridge. You've named principles already: clarity over speed, truth with care, choose the next reversible step. Bridges are where those principles walk into time. Without the bridge, values become wall art for a house that leaks. The bridge has 3 spans: translate, tile, tend. Translate takes a principle and renders it as a recurring practice with a verb, a place, and a duration. Tile lays the practice into your calendar as tiles with edges. Start ritual, finish ritual, return note. So each one has a hallway before and a door after. Tend is where you review and adjust weekly, keeping the bridge alive instead of rigid. Translation looks like this. Truth with care becomes speak one clear, care ask line in the Monday stand-up. Place conference room or Zoom, duration 45 seconds. Clarity over speed becomes write a 10-word red thread before any meeting I initiate. Place top of agenda, duration 60 seconds. Choose the next reversible step becomes set 1 reversible experiment every Wednesday at 3:30. Place desk with window, duration 10 minutes. If the verbs matter, your body moves on verbs. An anecdote from a non-profit with too many good intentions and too few calendars that told the truth. Sienna, director of programs, believed in care before speed, but her week betrayed her. She built the bridge. Translate, Wednesday 10:10 a.m., run 1 Rupture, repair loop with a teammate where tension lingers, 10 minutes, door closed, breath before, note after. Tile, a recurring calendar event labeled repair loop, with an elastic stop line so she didn't carry residue into the next call. Tend, Friday review with 3 questions: which tile held, which slipped, what is the smallest tweak? After a month, staff meetings shed invisible grudges. Sienna looked less tired not because work shrank, but because values got edges. Feel the skin temperature on the backs of your hands, a shade cooler than your palms. Let your gaze soften to see the edges of the room, then settle on a single point, the size of a small nail head. Your exhale lengthens by one beat. Your nervous system is catching the idea. Values are not ideas, they are rhythms. To install the bridge without turning into a calendar tyrant, use the 3 doorways method. Doorway 1 is morning anchor, a 2-minute practice that ties lock-in to your bridge, light, breath, micro-contrast, then 1 calendar tile that starts your day with a principle in motion. Doorway 2 is midday repair, a 10-minute block where you run a clean slate and write a return note on whatever thread you just finished, then check 1 value tile for the afternoon. Doorway 3 is evening seal, your downshift pair, plus a 1-minute glance at tomorrow's first tile. It's not more planning, it's a way to keep your day honest about who you say you are. Science short and useful. Light entering the eyes early anchors circadian rhythms, improving alertness and sleep latency. Warmth at night and cooler skin in the morning supports the same shift. Breath with extended exhale biases parasympathetic tone, so your heart rate variability improves, giving you more options under social stress. As for values on calendars, implementation intentions. When where what, convert vague intentions into reliable actions by decreasing the load on working memory. Translation. Biology loves clocks and cues. Psychology loves verbs and places. Your life loves when both agree. Run a live rep now. Stand or sit taller, not rigid, crown of head slightly lifted, sternum soft. Turn your face toward the nearest patch of natural light for 10 seconds. If none, lift your gaze to the farthest point in the room. Splash cool water on your wrists if you can. If not, imagine it. 3 cycles of 4-4-6. Whisper a morning story. Choose 1 steady guide, 1 thread. Now open your calendar and translate 1 principle into 1 tile with a verb, a place, and a duration. Give it a tiny hallway. Type the return note you'll leave future you, even if it's as small as next. Ask the constraint. You just built 90 seconds of architecture that will pay you for hours. A story from a relationship that almost turned into a schedule accident. Omar and Valentina kept missing each other. Work bled into evening, screens bled into sleep. Resentment grew like ivy. They chose a shared value, protect the bond, say the real thing, and built a bridge tile called Lighthouse Time. 15 minutes after dinner, phones out of the room, 1 clear, care ask each, 1 yes, if boundary if needed. It was small, almost silly at first. It became a door that closed on the day and opened into the part of life their calendars had been starving. Their nervous systems walked through that door and remembered they were on the same team. Pressure didn't leave their house, it stopped running it. Because your lock-in will collide with travel, deadlines, and children who wake at strange hours, you need a fallback. The 3-3-3 rescue. On wreck days, hit 3 minutes of light or distance gaze, 3 minutes of 4-4-6, and 3 minutes of warmth on the skin, shower, bath, blanket, followed by a single story line. Today is complete enough. Then run a 2-minute landing strip into the one thing you can influence. Rescue keeps you from chasing perfection with self-critique and regains the edge where momentum lives. Check for a sensory shift. The skin along the back of your neck warms or cools a degree. Your jaw slackens a millimeter. Your breath spreads into your low back like ink into blotting paper. Small, quiet cues. That's your ledger appreciating deposits you can barely see. The bridge only works if your week has slack for life to breathe. Enter the white space rule At least 10% of your calendar remains unbooked as a practice, not an accident. White space absorbs surprise without stealing energy from your best promises. Protect it with a sentence when people press. I'm holding a commitment that lets me deliver what we chose. It's true. The commitment is to showing up resourced. An anecdote from a client floor with glass and badge beeps. Hannah, a consultant, had every day packed to the ribcage. She started missing micro moments, breathing, listening, asking instead of explaining. She installed white space as a value tile, 2 30-minute blocks weekly labeled Sentry Walk. She left her laptop closed, walked a slow rectangle around the building, and asked her bridge questions: which tile is most like me? Which is performative? What gets dropped without harm? Her choices got sharper, her tone got warmer. When a partner asked her secret, she said, "I take a walk and remember who I am." That's not cute. That's operational identity. Because nights are where self-attack loves to live, give your brain a better lullaby. Use the sanctuary room upgrade you learned before, now welded to Lock-In. Lights warm, breath slow, a chair that holds you. On the table, a card with your 3 principles and a line that says, "You are the awareness, not the emotion." Read it slowly. Feel the exhale fall down your spine. The room is imaginary, the physiology is real. Your amygdala feels you dim the lights, your vagus hears your exhale, your RAS hears your words, your skin hears the warmth. Sleep is not a prize for suffering, it's training's partner. Feel the contact points that hold you, 2 feet, 2 sit bones. Let your gaze soften, then sharpen on a single corner of your room. Hear the farthest sound, then the nearest. You're using the same sensory doors at night you use in crisis during the day. Same you, different weather. You'll meet the night you break your own rules, scrolling past midnight and calling it catching up. When it happens, run the gentle reset instead of the trial. Gentle reset is 4 sentences and 1 breath. I broke rhythm. I'm a trainee, not a failure. 3 breaths now, light and water first in the morning. Complete enough. Then 4-4-6. The next day you still run Lock-In. The bridge still holds. Shame is not a coach, it's a thief. Don't let it steal 2 days. A story from a dim studio where the blue light looked like an aquarium and all the fish were notifications. I broke my own light swarm rule on a deadline and felt the panic afterward. No sleep edge, brain glittery, body braced. I ran gentle reset out loud, put my phone in another room, sat in the sanctuary for 90 seconds, then laid down and counted breaths like I was laying bricks. Morning came. I let light into my eyes, cooled my wrists, and told the day who I was. I wasn't perfect. I was consistent enough to be useful. That is the difference that changes lives. Because meals act like mood levers, you'll add a tiny rule without dogma. Eat something with real protein and real color before noon. Call it the color protein first. It's not a diet. It's a clarity hedge against blood sugar theater. Pair it with a glass of water when you think you need a 3rd coffee. Your ledger calms. Your phone becomes less interesting. Your principles become easier to obey because your physiology isn't screaming for shortcuts. Bridge needs social support. Teach 1 person your Lock-In and 1 bridge tile so they can be your echo coach. Invite them to text light breath temp story at 8:30 a.m. and you text them clear care ask before your hard call. Co-regulation isn't codependency, it's clever biology. Nervous systems synchronize, choose what you synchronize to. Feel your breath again. Inhale so the sides of your ribs widen more than the front. Exhale like warm fog. Let your shoulders settle as if a familiar coat has just found you. The room grows edges, your minutes grow handles. This is what training feels like when it leaves the gym and enters your life. Because values on a calendar will collide with other people's urgency, keep one sentence ready that guards the bridge without drama. Use the dignity guard. I want to protect, trust, and deliver what we chose. I'm keeping this block for that. If pressed, offer a reversible swap. I can trade this for Friday at 2 with no quality loss. Does that help? Your voice stays low, your jaw soft, your gaze steady. You're not stonewalling, you're stewarding. A nurse's station, last story in this chapter. Marta, 12 years on nights, thought calm meant numb. Lock-in felt like a joke at first, like the moon cares about my routines. She tried anyway. Light when leaving work, then dark glasses home. Warm shower, slow breath, complete enough. In the afternoon, she saw daylight for 60 seconds on her balcony and touched cool metal. Evening with her kid, phones out of the room, lighthouse time for 10 minutes, then a warm lamp, a book, breath, bed. She translated one principle, protect dignity, into a bridge tile. Every shift she would do one rupture, repair however small. 6 weeks later, she laughed easier. She still had nights that chewed her, but they didn't own her the next day. I keep my clocks, she said, and I keep my word. That is a life, not a hack, a life. One more minute with me. Face toward whatever light you have. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Splash your wrists or imagine it. Whisper your morning story or your evening closure, whichever side of the day you're on. Translate one principle into one tile with a verb, place, and duration. Give it a hallway and a door. Then say out loud, that was me choosing, and notice one body cue, warmer chest, looser jaw, clearer eyes. Tag it. This is what choosing feels like. You are not your calendar. You are the awareness that designs it. You are not your fatigue. You are the awareness that steers light and breath and warmth, so fatigue doesn't get to name you. You won't perform balance. You will practice rhythms until balance is something your body trusts. By now you can steady your breath, narrow your spotlight, and turn threat into a verb. What remains is the deep layer that makes you not just unshaken, but improved by pressure. Today you'll wire anti-fragility, the capacity to leave hard moments stronger, clearer, and more aligned. You'll learn 2 frameworks, the meaning engine and the boundary compass. The first turns experience into fuel on a clock, so lessons don't get lost in the noise. The second keeps your edges true, even when opportunity tempts you to overextend or shrink. Together, they prevent the quiet self-betrayals that drain courage and convert strain into strength you can use tomorrow. Start where pressure lives right now, in the body. Feel the temperature at your cheeks, warmer under the eyes, cooler near the jaw hinge. Notice the weight of your hands, the subtle pulse in your thumbs. Let your breath touch the back of your throat like a warm ribbon. You're not fixing anything. You're planting a flag, I am here. Anti-fragility begins with accurate presence. You cannot transform what you won't fully feel. The meaning engine runs on 3 timed gears: capture, convert, carry. Capture happens within 10 minutes of a meaningful moment, win, wobble, or wall. You write the 3-line ledger: what happened in 1 sentence, what I did, what my body felt when I chose. Convert happens within 24 hours. You craft a 1-line operating principle from that moment, built as a verb that travels. Ask for the constraint before committing. State the risk before the plan. Stop at 85%, then refine what matters. Carry is where you install the principle into a ritual, a script, or a calendar tile. The values to calendar bridge you built now becomes a conveyor belt. This turns experience into reusable code. Your nervous system loves code. It can run under heat. An anecdote from a windy rooftop with plastic chairs, where a pitch night felt like a storm. Danny saw a skeptical eyebrow lift at slide 2 and felt the old flush climb. She used the 2-beat buffer, asked one clarifying question, and finished without racing. 10 minutes later, capture she wrote, eyebrow at slide 2, breath down, question first, shoulders dropped. Convert next morning, eyebrow equals clarify. Carry, she added a slide 2 prompt to every deck, one crisp question to preempt confusion. 2 weeks later, another room, another eyebrow. The moment that used to melt her now served her. Same trigger, new engine. Science short and pointed. Emotional memories tag strongly when you encode them with body sensation and action. By writing the ledger and extracting one portable verb, you move the memory from limbic drama to prefrontal instruction. The bridge tile cues the basal ganglia to fire the sequence next time. You aren't romanticizing pain, you're recycling it. Check your senses. Cool air at nostrils, warm air out. The chair receiving your weight, 2 sit bones like coins. A far sound, traffic ribbon, vent hum, that reminds your vestibular system the world is bigger than your current screen. Every time you map the body, you reopen choice. Now the second framework, the boundary compass. Edges blur under success as often as under threat. You'll set headings in 4 directions: north non-negotiables, east energizers, south safeties, west warnings. Non-negotiables are the 2 or 3 lines that define your integrity in action: no lying by omission, no yes without a scope, no work that poisons sleep. Energizers are the practices that add net energy: morning light, 4-4-6 ladder, a 10-minute walk. Safeties are the moves you use when you're fried: white flag reset, sanctuary room, 3-3-3 rescue. Warnings are tells that you're off, true, sarcasm spikes, inbox grazing, heat in the jaw, pretending to understand. Each heading has 1 sentence and 1 behavior. You review the compass weekly in 2 minutes. The room cannot move your compass if you check it before the room. A story from a bright office with too many snacks and not enough sleep. Leo's career took off, so did the asks. He became the reliable yes that ate itself. He built a compass. North, no yes without an or choice. East, light before inbox. South, if sarcasm rises, run clean slate. West, jaw heat means boundary. On Tuesday, a senior begged for just a quick night push. Jaw lit up. West flagged, North spoke. Yes, if we move Friday's launch review, otherwise I can deliver a smaller slice by noon. The room recalibrated. Leo wasn't harder, he was oriented. Feel your own West. Is the jaw hot? Let your tongue touch the roof of your mouth behind your teeth. Inhale so low ribs widen more than chest. Exhale like fog on glass. Heat falls 1 notch. Orientation is physics for biology. To install antifragility in your day, you'll pair meaning engine and boundary compass with strategic discomfort intervals, micro choices you take on purpose so your system learns to be brave in low stakes. Twice a day, you pick a small stretch. Ask 1 question earlier than comfort, set 1 yes. If deliver 1 clean no with warmth, or sit in 30 seconds of silence before you answer. You tag the body cue afterward, warmer chest, cooler forehead, looser jaw, and say, that was me choosing. This trains courage like a muscle, not a myth. An anecdote from a stand-up where silence used to terrify. Olma practiced a 30-second pause after her update to invite questions. The first time, her skin crawled. The second time, someone asked exactly what she needed to know. She captured, converted, silence invites truth, and carried it by putting a pause here sticky on her monitor. The pause became a tool, not a threat. Because antifragility without kindness becomes armor, you'll add the inner ally drill, a companion to the inner coach. After a hard rep, you spend 60 seconds naming the intention you were serving and 1 way you protected your principles. I asked for clarity to protect the outcome. I said no to protect energy for promises. You feel the body cue that says aligned, often a warm band across the chest or a gentle lengthening at the back of the neck. This drill prevents growth from becoming a grind and keeps identity anchored in values, not victory. Sensory beat. Taste whatever faint trace sits on your tongue, coffee, mint, neutral. Hear the smallest sound in your room. Let your eyes soften, then lock lightly on a single point. Your exhale lengthens a breath. You are telling your body, we can learn here. Edge cases steal strength, betrayals, rejections, losses. Your meaning engine needs a heavy weather mode. The 3R alchemy: relate, reduce, rebuild. Relate is where you state the human truth without analysis. This hurts. You pair it with breath so it doesn't spiral. Reduce is where you shrink the universe to 2 verbs you can do: breathe and ask for 1 fact, rest and repair 1 thread. Rebuild is where, within 72 hours, you write 1 operating principle that honors the wound without glamorizing it. Don't outsource worth to a reply. When trust breaks, repair fast or release clean. You carry by adjusting your bridge. Uninstall a tile that served an old identity. Install the tiniest new one. You're not painting over cracks. You're pouring a new footing. A short scene from a living room lit by a street lamp's soft rectangle. Taek's dream role went to someone else. Old Taek would vanish into doomscroll. He ran 3R relate, this hurts. 2446 cycles, hand warm over sternum. Reduce, email 1 mentor, walk 10 minutes. Rebuild 2 days later, lead with outcomes, not longing, 5 yeses beat 1 gate. Carry a calendar tile every Friday, send 1 clean outcome note to a contact. The loss didn't soften immediately. His spine did, then his path. Antifragility doesn't deny the ache, it refuses to waste it. Map your compass now in 60 seconds. North, pick 1 non-negotiable and write it plain. East, 1 energizer ritual that fits a tired day. South, 1 safety move you can run in 30 seconds in public. West, 1 warning tell you'll respect. Whisper them once. Your RAS listens when your mouth moves. Biology respects spoken vows. Under the hood, meaning-making recruits default mode and executive networks. When paired with specific action, it avoids rumination and strengthens goal circuits. Boundary clarity reduces prediction error in social contexts. Your vagus nerve reads your posture and voice as cues of safety to yourself and others. Translation: a clear principle spoken calmly changes your blood chemistry and the room. Because ambition can unmoor your compass, add the horizon check. Once a week, write 2 sentences. What game you're playing: craft, service, mastery, revenue, impact. Choose 2. And what you refuse to trade for: speed, health, trust, family, rhythm, integrity. When a glittering ask arrives, you test it against the horizon. If it advances the game without violating the trade line, you can stretch. If not, you decline with dignity. I want to protect trust and my current commitments. I'm a no to this version. Your nervous system will protest less when decline serves a visible horizon. A story from a co-founder breakfast where the eggs cooled while the calendar tried to eat them. Julia and Mo wrote, game equals craft plus trust, do not trade equals sleep plus honesty. A big partner wanted creative magic with an impossible timeline and NDAs that gagged truth. The money sang. West warned jaw heat. North spoke no yes without scope. Horizon said trust over speed. They countered with pilot first. The partner declined. It strung. They ran 3R, then built an outreach tile to 5 aligned clients. 6 months later, they had both money and nights. Not luck, Orientation. Sensory check. Feel the skin along the back of your neck, warmer near the skull, cooler at the hairline. Let your breath expand your low back like a sail taking wind. Exhale through rounded lips, a soft hush. You are teaching your animal that principles are not threats, they are shelters. You'll meet the voice that says, "If I set boundaries, I'll lose love or opportunity." That voice belongs to a younger protector who kept you safe by overgiving. Thank it. Then run the boundary rehearsal quartet so the protector has new options. Write one yes, if line, one clear, care ask decline, one bridge line, and one three-part repair you can deliver if your boundary lands rough. Rehearse each once out loud with the open trapezed posture. The room will not always like your edges. Your nervous system will. The trade is worth it. An anecdote from a family group chat that could turn holidays into trials. Priyanka became the default event planner by silence. She wrote the quartet. When the text came, "Can you just handle everything again?" she replied, "I want to keep this joyful. I'm a no to leading. Yes, if I bring desserts and games, otherwise I'll arrive at 6 and help clean." Someone shot back a guilt arrow. She ran the 2-beat buffer and the bridge. "I care about our time and telling the truth. This keeps me kind." The holiday felt lighter than any in years. She captured, converted, kind truth beats brittle yes, and carried by adding a family boundary tile to November. Because antifragility leans on recovery, you'll expand your recovery triangle into recovery rituals, 5-minute sequences that store strength. Pick one for body, walk in daylight, hip opener, stretch you actually do. One for mind, 10 slow breaths, 2 minutes of still gaze. One for heart, send a sincere thank you voice note. Tag your body cue, steady eyes, warm chest, loose jaw. Rituals turn resilience from emergency response to daily nutrition. Feel your eyes now, let the muscles around them soften. Let your shoulders drop a half notch, as if a friend set 2 warm stones in your palms. Hear a sound beyond the room. Your biology is reading safety, space, steadiness. The room hasn't changed, you have. Sometimes meaning gets blocked by shame that won't yield to logic. Use the shadow gratitude, a 30-second whisper where you thank the emotion for its attempted job before you run the protocol. Thank you, anger, for trying to protect the line. Thank you, fear, for trying to keep me from humiliation. Then you choose, protect with a boundary, clarify with a question. This shortens resistance. Emotions stop fighting when they are seen. A small scene from a client call where heat hid incompetence. Marcus felt a flare when a peer nitpicked his deck. He thanked anger for guarding quality. Then he asked, "If we had to pick one metric to decide this, which would keep us honest?" Anger's energy went into the question's spine. The meeting moved. Later he wrote, "Thank the guard, then steer," and carried it as a line on a sticky in his notebook. Because you're playing the long game, you'll install a quarterly debrief that honors data and dignity. 90 minutes, 4 parts. Recap 3 patterns you converted into principles. Review your compass for drift. Recommit to 2 tiles that carry the most life. Release 1 identity that no longer fits, the martyr, the fixer, the silent. You mark release with a small act. Delete a calendar series, archive a Slack channel, donate a tool you don't need. Bodies believe ceremonies. Make one. Identity always. You are not pressure resistant by pretending not to feel. You are pressure transforming by feeling fully, choosing cleanly, and carrying forward. You are not an approval addict learning tricks. You are a principled operator who protects dignity and truth, including your own. When rooms wobble, your calm will still be read as power. You'll know it's simply practice. Close with a full field drill. Pick a hard moment from this week. Capture 3-line ledger, what happened, what you did, what you felt when you chose. Convert 1 portable verb. Carry 1 tile on next week's calendar. Now sketch your compass, one line in each direction. Whisper each heading once. Choose one strategic discomfort interval for tomorrow morning. Then place your hand flat on a cool surface, table, counter, and run 2 rounds of 4-4-6. Feel the cool travel through your palm to your forearm. On the last exhale, say, "That was me choosing." Let your jaw loosen a millimeter. Let your gaze soften. The room gains edges. Time widens by a breath. You just stored strength. One breath more. Inhale and feel your low back widen like a small sail. Hold softly. Exhale as if fogging a window, shoulders down and wide, collarbones broad. Hear the farthest sound. Sense the weight of your feet. Whisper your identity cue. I am the steady guide who grows under pressure. You are the awareness driving the meaning engine and steering by the boundary compass, not the weather that tries to turn you around. Under fire, you won't be brittle. You'll be bright. Integration is an art, not an accident. You didn't come here to collect clever acronyms and walk away the same. Today we weld everything into a living system you can carry anywhere: boardroom, kitchen, midnight, runway, hospital, studio. Pressure will still knock. You'll answer from a place that feels like clean oak under your palms. We'll seal this journey with 2 frameworks that stitch your protocols into one reflex: the 60-second command center and the keystone stack. The command center is your on-demand cockpit. 1 minute, 4 switches, any situation. The keystone stack is your daily scaffolding, 3 moves that keep the cockpit powered even when life tilts. You'll test both with a field graduation that simulates heat and requires repair, clarity, and care in real time. You won't perform calm. You'll inhabit it. Feel the room with precision before you build. Air at the nostrils, a shade cooler going in, warmer coming out. The weight of your sit bones like 2 even stones, not digging, simply present. Your chest rising a few millimeters, your low back widening like a small sail. Hear the farthest sound, then the nearest. Press your tongue lightly to the roof of your mouth behind your top teeth. The jaw slackens 1 notch. This is not Zen wallpaper, it is calibration. A pilot confirms instruments before takeoff. You are the pilot. The 60-second command center runs in 4 15-second switches: state, story, scope, step. State is physiology, 1 4-4-6 breath and a pocket anchor touch. You feel ribs widen to the sides more than the front. Shoulders drop a fraction like a coat finding the hanger. Story is your Sentry filter in 10 words. Protect trust, define success, pick 1 reversible inch. Scope is the clear frame, skill, behavior, or outcome, and the principle you'll obey this minute: clarity over speed, truth with care, or reversible before irreversible. Step is the smallest visible move: a question sent, a boundary line spoken, a cursor placed with the first ugly sentence typed. 15 seconds each, 60 total. You can run it walking down a hall, between breaths in a meeting, or at a sink with water on your wrists. It is not another thing to remember. It's the drawer that holds the other things. A story from a glass elevator that made stomachs flutter. Aaron rode to the 37th floor to defend a decision that angered 2 VPs. His palms buzzed. His throat felt gated metal. Old Aaron rehearsed arguments and arrived brittle. New Aaron ran the command center. State, hand to cool rail 4-4-6. Story, protect relationship, name constraint, request reversible test. Scope, outcome. Step, write the opening sentence in notes. To hit target without overburn, we trimmed X. Let's test Y for 7 days. When the doors opened, his chest felt warmer instead of armored. He led with the sentence, then asked, if we had 1 reversible test before we commit, which buys the most learning? The room exhaled into options. Same floor, different pilot. Pause and check your own cockpit lights. Breath even, ribs moving sideways, eyes soft, then aimed at one point. The command center is not lofty. It's a set of toggles your hands can find in the dark. Repeat the 4 words once under your breath: state, story, scope, step. Your reticular activating system loves alliteration that anchors action. The second framework is the Keystone Stack. Morning lock-in, midday reset, evening seal. You already built parts of this. Now you compress them into 3 non-negotiable anchors that keep your nervous system powered and your identity online. Morning lock-in is light, breath, temp, story in under 4 minutes, plus 1 tile from your values to calendar bridge. Midday reset is the 2-minute clean slate paired with a single Sentry spotlight filter for the next block. Evening seal is the downshift pair, dim then do, write then release, plus a 1-sentence daybook line: 1 cue I handled, 1 move I ran, 1 body cue I felt. Keystone means if everything else slips, you still touch these 3 stones. They keep every other practice findable. Science short and tied to doing. The command center's state switch extends your exhale and rebalances code 202, signaling safety through your vagus nerve and widening your prefrontal window. Story and scope prime executive networks to fetch mission-relevant cues instead of threat. Step recruits habit circuits with a visible end mark, delivering dopamine for progress. Keystone anchors stabilize circadian rhythms and reduce decision fatigue by ritualizing the start, the middle, and the end. Translation: you are placing your best brain within reach on purpose. Run a live minute with me. State: 1446, thumb to pen cap or fingers to wrist pulse. Story: whisper a 10-word filter, reduce confusion, ask 1 constraint question. Scope: outcome, not personality. Step: type what would good look like by Friday at 10, and send. Feel the chest loosen. That looseness is not a mood. It is oxygen returning to the part of you that chooses. An anecdote from a kitchen where a pan hissed and a phone blinked. Tamsin and her partner slid into a loop. Late texts during dinner, brittle silence after. She installed the Keystone Stack for evenings. Seal began at 8:30. Lights warm, 5-minute chores loop, 3-line snapshot 1446. Command center before hard moments. State: hand on counter, exhale, story, protect bond, say real thing, scope, behavior, step. Phones away 8:39, then we check together. The first night the old tug pulled. She exhaled, named the boundary with a yes if, yes to texting after we set tomorrow's plan, otherwise away now. Their shoulders dropped. They talked like people who like each other, not magic, architecture. A sensory beat to mark what your body is learning. Notice the cooler skin along your forearms. Listen for a sound outside your room. Let your eyes soften, then rest on a single anchor, corner of a frame, a small screw head, the period at the end of a sentence. Exhale like warm fog. You are writing the memory of steadiness into muscles and breath. Graduation means pressure on purpose. Enter the field graduation, a 3-scene simulation you can run in 1 hour to weld your system. Scene 1, the ambush question. You have 5 minutes to prepare a 2-minute update. Prime with the command center. Deliver clear then care. We won't hit Friday with full scope. I want to protect trust and your timeline. Do you prefer a smaller feature by Friday or the full version Wednesday? Run a 2-beat buffer if heat rises. After jot a ledger line, cue move, body cue receipt. Scene 2, the boundary. A colleague slides a quick task that steals your evening. Command center, then yes if we move X, otherwise I can give an outline by 10. Mark any rupture, mend with impact and forward, move with next inch. Scene 3, the repair. You missed a detail that hit someone's work. Run 3-part repair, fact, impact, forward. Seal with a 4-4-6 and a recovery triangle, breath, light, touch. This hour is your gym. Repeat monthly. Strength doesn't stay without reps. A story from a Friday that used to own him. Jonah, yes, the roadmap Jonah set a field graduation at 4 p.m. on the last Friday of the quarter when fires usually ate his weekend. Ambush, his director asked for a number he didn't have. State, story, protect trust, define decision, scope outcome step, 2 options for Monday, ballpark with error bars or verified by 2 p.m., which serves you, boundary. A teammate tried to slide tiny copy edits at 5:40. Yes, if line delivered. Repair, he had snapped earlier, he named it with impact and forward. At 6:05 he sealed the day. He walked out into gold light with a ribcage that felt roomier. That's not productivity, that's a life. Because endings tell your nervous system whether to dread or return, we add the victory seal. After any hard rep, conversation, deadline, decision, you speak one line aloud. That was me choosing, and you touch an anchor, cool countertop, warm mug, the back of a chair. You pair it with a body tag, loose jaw, warm chest, cooler forehead. The tag is a breadcrumb in your nervous system. On bad days, you can follow it back to yourself. You may worry the command center will make you mechanical. It won't. It will make you musical. The switches set a key. Your presence plays the song. If someone presses your buttons, wow, so calm, must be nice. Mirror, then bridge. Steady helps me serve us. Which single decision unlocks the most? You are not auditioning for approval. You're conducting an hour. A sensory check. Feel the seam where fabric meets wrist. Let your shoulders drop a fraction. Hear the smallest hum and the farthest noise together. This layered hearing is how rooms feel bigger when you need space. Space gives you language. We'll stitch identity one last time. The old name might have been anxious overthinker who sometimes gets it right. The new name is steady operator who chooses under fire. Speak it plainly. I am the awareness, not the emotion. The awareness uses command center and keystone, sentry and spotlight, stop, widen and clear then care, clean slate and detangler, boundary bell and yes if, decision sandbox and stack splitter, pressure rehearsal and trigger table, rupture, repair and empathy map, tempo curve and transmute, circadian lock-in and values bridge, meaning engine and boundary compass. Not as badges, as handles. Close with a layered drill called the minute, the hour, the day. The minute is command center, state, story, scope, step. The hour is a single tempo curve, warm peak, glide, land tied to one thread. The day is keystone, lock-in, reset, seal. If a minute fails, zoom to the hour and run the curve. If the hour wobbles, zoom to the day and run the keystone. If the day tilts, white flag, reset and a gentle seal, no trial. Every layer forgives the last by offering a handle. Forgiveness is not softness. It's intelligent continuity. An anecdote in a studio full of quiet cables and a clock that ticked like a soft metronome. I faced a recording that had fought me for days. The critic whispered in second person, mean and familiar. Catch, convert, coach switched it. Command center ran. Tempo curve built 1 hour I could trust. Keystone promised a seal even if the hour went sideways. The take landed in the third pass, not because I became brilliant, but because I became reliable. He later said, "You don't flinch." What he meant was, when pressure rose, I had a cockpit. Your final field test is to pick a single high-friction moment you know is coming this week and write it like a scene. Who's there? What they smell like, coffee, cologne, dry paper, the color of the room, the sentence that might hook you. Now mark the 4 command center switches on a note card and the 3 keystone stones on your calendar. Rehearse once, standing with breath audible, posture open, trapezed, eyes soft then aimed. Add one repair line you hope you never need and one yes, if guard for scope. Set a recovery triangle immediately after. This is not superstition. This is stewardship. Breathe with me one last time. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6, shoulders down and wide, collarbones broad. Feel the spine lengthen a quarter inch without effort. Whisper, state, story, scope, step. Whisper, lock in, reset, seal. Touch your pocket anchor. Notice the warm band across your chest or the cool on your forehead, whatever your body tags as agency. That tag is your receipt. You earned it in hundreds of tiny minutes you chose. You'll still get scared. You'll still get tired. You'll still say something too sharp and need to repair. The difference is distance. From surge to awareness, awareness to choice, choice to action, action to repair, repair to seal. That distance is where leadership lives. People will feel it when they sit across from you. More importantly, you will feel it when you sit with yourself. Walk to a doorway, put your hand on the frame, cool, solid. Name the next room's red thread. Run 1446. Carry your keystone stack on your calendar like a quiet promise. And underneath the protocols, let this sentence be the ground you never lose. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Weather passes, water carries. Under fire, you will carry water.